world of sports.
Speed used to just be a number.
When I broke the sound barrier in 1947, speed became a science.
Today, some people have turned speed into an art form, and those folks meet once a year at the Indianapolis 500. The greatest spectacle in racing, where drivers feel their engine in their bones, where they take punishing G-forces in the corner and come out stronger, where they react at speeds passing 230 miles an hour.
Losing control of the car, doing a magnificent job of not hitting the wall and continuing in the race.
Where drivers become one with their machine. General Yeager surpassed 700 miles an hour in the X1, but he didn't have to worry about 32 other pilots in his rearview mirror.
Hell, I didn't even have a rearview mirror.
When you strap into one of these machines, you know that speed exposes any weakness, physical, mental, or mechanical. There are no maybes, no should-haves, no next times. There is only victory or defeat. Throughout history at Indianapolis, drivers have blurred the line between human and machine. In 2003, that tradition continues. A human extension of a race car, looking to extend an Indy win streak to an unprecedented third year in a row. A fuel-injected competitor in his final Indy 500, who has led the most laps without tasting victory.
And Mears, who has been driving a very different line this race, takes Michael Andretti. 187 laps into the record book. The fight is at the front.
A 700 horsepower heart of a two-time series champion. A new wheel, guided by a brickyard legend. 3 engines that have gone full throttle to victory lane in years past.
Goodyear makes a move. Little Al wins by just a few tenths of a second.
And one racing to turn today into history. Speed, a number, a science, an art form. It all comes together here at the Indianapolis 500.
For the 39th year, ABC Sports presents the greatest spectacle in racing. This is Countdown to the 87th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. The largest gathering of humanity for any sporting event in the world is here at the crossroads of America to continue a Memorial Day weekend tradition dating back to 1911. The engines are being warmed up here along the front stretch. Well-known faces from all walks of life, from sports, movies, television, and music are among those who have chosen to spend this Sunday afternoon watching 33 drivers seek the ultimate prize in auto racing, the Borg Warner Trophy, and the title of Indy 500 winner. Drivers will be in the spotlight here today, but the crews are equally important. This year, 3 of our ABC pit reporters have been entrenched with 3 crews since early this morning, spending most of the time back in the garage area. But now they have moved to pit road. We want to give you a perspective on what Indy is all about to them. Jack Arute is with Marlboro Team Penske.
And Bob, our day started at 5 a.m. at a downtown hotel where the crew checked out from their home away from home for the last month. Then they were treated to a little panache from the police as they gave us the police escort to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And since then, they've worked on pit practice. They've also had their final team meeting, and they've warmed up the car. During that team meeting, they went over, Gary Gerald, every scenario that could occur, changing the nose, changing tires, making adjustments on the fly.
And Jack, it was just over a half hour ago that Michael Andretti emerged from the solitude of his motorhome or here on the Speedway grounds, where he spent the night with his family awaiting the final drive of his career. A great reception for him. He's been attempting to seal himself away from any and all distractions. He came over here to the garage area a half hour ago, and the barriers have come down. He's been behind closed doors up until moments ago. He just bolted back to the motorhome to kiss his daughter Marissa before he makes his final drive. And Vince Welch will be hearing from Michael shortly, reflecting on his amazing career and also finding out just how tough it's been to try to treat this memorable day as just another race.
Well, Gary, Team Kelly will be one of the favorites today with current IndyCar points leader Scott Sharp, two-time 500 winner Al Unser Jr., and highly regarded rookie Tony Renna. The car and the crew began arriving about 4:30 this morning, and team owner Tom Kelly arrived shortly thereafter, already bright-eyed and feeling confident this could be the day his team reaches victory lane. As part of our entrenched coverage, a camera will follow Kelly, and he will be wearing a microphone, allowing you insight into the strategy and emotion of the Indianapolis 500.
Thanks, Vince. Well, we've spotted Paula Abdul in this massive crowd here today as our clock counts down to the command to start the engines. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Countdown to Indy. We invite you to celebrate with us for the next 3.5 hours a long-standing holiday tradition that signals the beginning of summer and represents for drivers and fans alike the most exciting and emotional day of the year. Before this day is over, one driver will experience the thrill of victory and will carry the title of Indianapolis 500 winner. The weather is cloudy, the temperature is cool, but the forecast is for only a slight chance of rain. A full complement of 33 qualified for the 2003 Indy 500, giving us the 9th closest field in history and the 3rd fastest in history. We begin our review of today's starting lineup with the first 3 rows.
Hélio Castro Neves, São Paulo, Brazil. 2001 and 2002 Indy 500 winner.
Tony Kanaan, São Paulo, Brazil.
Robbie Gordon, Orange, California.
Scott Dixon, Auckland, New Zealand.
Dan Weldon, Emberton, England.
Kenny Brack, Karlstad, Sweden. 1999 Indy 500 champion.
Takagi, Tokyo, Japan.
Tony Renna, DeLand, Florida.
Scott Sharp, Wilton, Connecticut.
Coming up, can Team Penske win a 13th Indianapolis 500? His drivers are Hélio Castro Neves and Gil de Ferran. Or will Michael Andretti win his first and his last start here at Indianapolis?
ABC Sports presentation of the countdown to the Indianapolis 500, brought to you by 7-Eleven. When it comes to fresh, 7-Eleven has it made. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
It's race day in Indianapolis, and during today's event, we'll be watching many stories, but Jack, none bigger than a possible three-peat.
Well, Bob, let's take you back to 2001. First time Hélio Castro Neves ran in the Indianapolis 500, and he won. The 8th rookie to do so in 85 races. Round 2 last season, the Brazilian making a second career start. He wins again, making him 2-0 right here at the Brickyard. For Hélio Castro Neves, an unprecedented 3 in a row stands before him. How much of a distraction, if any, has that fact been in practice and preparation?
Well, I tell you, distraction is not playing a role right now, to be honest. I'm just having a good time, being this opportunity that nobody did before. So, hey, I just go out there and have a lot of fun.
What about Hélio's Marlboro Team Penske teammate? There are some that say that his Indy dream was derailed when this happened. He lost the left rear wheel after a pit stop. Were it not for that pit miscue, some people say that Gil de Ferran would be the man that would have awarded Roger Penske his 12th victory. But Gil, that was then, this is now. What has changed?
Well, to be honest, not much. I mean, the team is as excellent as ever. You know, we're ready to go. We spent the whole month preparing, and hopefully I'll be in contention again right at the end of the race.
Bob, these are 2 that will be pursuing that speed as an art form.
Jack, each of the 11 rows in this year's field has at least one driver who has won an IRL IndyCar Series event. Here are rows 4 through 7.
Gil de Ferran, São Paulo, Brazil.
Roger Yasukawa, West Hollywood, California.
Thomas Scheckter, South Africa.
Michael Andretti, Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
Greg Ray, Plano, Texas.
Shinji Nakano, Osaka, Japan.
Felipe Jafone, São Paulo, Brasil.
Al Unser Jr., Henderson, Nevada. 1992, 94 Indy 500 champion.
Sam Hornish Jr., Defiance, Ohio.
Buddy Rice, Phoenix, Arizona. Jacques Lazier, Altaloma, California. Buddy Lazier, Vail, Colorado. 1996 Indy 500 champion.
Michael Andretti is preparing for not only his final Indy 500, but the final race of his 20-year career. He'll turn his attention to the business side of the sport after today's event. He has led 398 laps here, more than any other non-winner.
In Italian, it's La Famiglia, the family, a bond between generations. It's one thing to be a second-generation son of an Italian immigrant immersed in his father's profession. It's an entirely different matter when your name is Andretti. For Michael, it meant dealing with his father Mario's legacy-laced shadow.
It was real tough. People expected you to win right away, and if you didn't win, they'd ask what happened. And having said that, I think it was good for me because I learned to deal with the pressures at an early age, and I think that's helped me today.
La Familia dictated Michael's journey into racing.
I felt it. I always felt it since the moment that people ask you what you want to be when you grow up. So I would say you have to be born with whatever it is, but there's a feel that you inherently have. But that's to be a race car driver. But to be a winner, that's another thing. You know, I mean, again, you have to have it here, deep in your heart.
Mario won this race in 1969, but after that, the family was broken, tested, and teased by this race. Was there an Indy 500 curse for the Andrettis?
As Michael Andretti slows down at Indianapolis.
I don't feel like I'm cursed in any way. I hate when people say that people say this place owes me this and that. And I'm not owed anything. You know, I've been the luckiest guy in the world.
Mario Andretti raced into his 50s. Michael is just 40 and third on the all-time win list. He still has plenty of game.
I'm very lucky that I'm retiring the way I always wanted to retire. I'm not being forced out. I'm not just fading away. I'm going out on top of my game, and that's the way I've always wanted to do it.
For the head of La Familia, Mario Andretti, Michael's cockpit retirement elicits mixed feelings.
From a father's standpoint, I'm delighted. As a fan of his, I'm going to miss him because Michael provided excitement.
La Familia Andretti, a diverse combination.
The passion he has for driving, nobody has ever had that's ever sat behind a wheel.
Michael will not regret coming out of the cockpit. He will not be brooding on the sidelines like I was.
I have other interests that I really enjoy. I enjoy it outside the car. I enjoy the business side. I enjoy those types of challenges where Dad hates it.
Michael has 4 cars in today's 500, and he will remain in the sport as a team owner. But before he ends his driving career, he has one unfinished job.
I have one more lap to lead, and that's the last lap of this year's Indy 500.
500 miles to go. Here's the man. Michael, you've said you're trying so hard to treat this like just any other event, but it's Indianapolis. It's the last time. How difficult has that been?
Well, I'd be lying if I said it was easy. I'll tell you, this has been an incredible last few days here leading up to this thing, and everybody keeps reminding me it's my last race, but I'm still trying to tell myself, you know, that it's just another 500. Go out and do the best I can.
Thanks for great memories.
Thank you.
Let's hear from the men who will call this race as we ring down the curtain on this great career. We go to Paul Page and Scott Goodyear.
Well, the drivers are now making the walk. Over the long history of this race, 680 drivers have made this 177-foot walk from the garage area out to the pits itself.
And Paul, whether you're a rookie or a veteran, this is the walk that you want to do one time in your motorsport career to start the Indianapolis 500. And although the race is here today for the drivers, it's also a huge competition for the engine manufacturers. Toyota, Chevrolet, and Honda all have a shot at winning this event today. But if one of the Japanese engine manufacturers happens to win today, it'll be the first Japanese engine manufacturer to win the Indianapolis 500.
Now, there are 9 rookies in the field. Do they have any idea what's going to happen to them?
Oh, Paul, they really don't. I remember when I came here as a rookie, I thought I was ready, but look at this place. You're not ready for the start. You're not ready for the race down to turn 1.
Well, that's it. That's the walk, and it's great. Now, let's send you over to Jerry Punch.
Well, Paul, Muhammad Ali, perhaps the greatest boxer to ever step foot in the ring today, visits for the very first time the greatest spectacle in racing. And, champ, what are your impressions here of Indy?
This is greater than me. This is a big event. I never saw so many people, so peaceful, so happy, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Thanks, champ. Bob, with Ali in the house, you know it's going to be a heavyweight slugfest.
All right, Doc, great to see the champ here. Former Indy 500 pole sitter and IRL IndyCar Series champion Greg Ray begins that walk toward the front stretch as the countdown clock continues to move just a little bit more than 34 minutes before the command. Log on to ESPN.com and play along with today's race on Enhanced TV presented by Miller High Life. Jr.'s 2 victories here at Indy came in 1992 when he raced our own Scott Goodyear to the checkered flag and won the closest finish in history. Then in 94, he was first under the checkered flags again, Vince, to become the 500's 14th multiple winner.
Years ago, Little Al said, Indy is everything. Al, as we make that walk toward your 16th appearance, is Indianapolis as important as ever?
Most definitely. You know, it's life to me. I do my years by Indianapolis, and so this is final exams coming on right now.
A special fan supporting the Kelly team today, former President Bush. Mr. President, how long have you been a race fan?
Well, I've been a long time, but I've never seen this race. I've seen the NASCAR races, but never seen the big one. But of course, this guy's family name just rings through American sports, transcending the Indianapolis. But I'll tell you, it's a thrill for me, and I'm just rooting hard for these guys.
A race fan should see a good one today, Bob.
Thanks, Vince. Drivers in this year's field have a combined 115 Indy 500 starts. Here's the remainder of today's starting lineup.
Robbie Buell, Cleveland, Ohio.
AJ Foyt IV, Hockley, Texas.
Sarah Fisher, Commercial Point, Ohio.
Alex Barron, Menifee, California.
Vitor Mira, Brasilia, Brazil.
Jimmy Vassar, Las Vegas.
Richie Hearn, Henderson, Nevada.
Billy Boat, Phoenix, Arizona.
Shige Hattori, Okayama, Japan.
Robbie McGee, St. Louis, Missouri.
Jimmy Kite, Stockbridge, Georgia.
Ayrton Dere, Bauru, Brazil.
The IRL IndyCar Series' most popular driver the last 2 years has been Sarah Fisher. The 22-year-old from Commercial Point, Ohio, attracts a crowd wherever she goes. And last year at Kentucky became the first woman to win a pole position for a major league open wheel race. This will be her 4th Indy 500 start. And Jerry Punch, she's part of a 2-car team this year here at Indy.
You're exactly right, Bob. And without a doubt, Sarah Fisher and Robbie Buell, their teammate, are among 2 of the fan favorites. And Sarah, unlike what just happened this past weekend on the PGA Tour, you've been competing against the best men in the world for years now. What are your expectations here today?
Well, I mean, we got to look at it from a long-term approach. We're using every tool that we have, every aspect of this race car and race team. So we're planning on being there at the end, and we'll see where we come out.
Robbie, you guys start beside a very aggressive 19-year-old rookie. Any concerns at the start?
No, we all know you can't win this race at the start. You got to be around at the end. We all know that.
Good luck. Bob, that rookie is the grandson of a 4-time Indy 500 winner.
And the young Texan has had his ups and downs during the month. AJ Foyt IV spun and slid backwards down the backstretch during qualifying, but didn't hit a thing. And Paul, it looks like the good news is the name Foyt will be around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for a few more years.
You bet it will, Bob. Anthony, I call him Ford, came back, persevered, and qualified. Here's Granddad, the first 4-time winner of the Indy 500. Are you feeling right now concern or pride bringing him out?
Well, I think I'm concerned. I've also got pride, so I don't know where you draw the line, but I'm just glad everything's going to go all right today.
And Anthony, happy birthday. 19 years old today. He give you any special instructions?
I'll just go out there, and it's my first 500, and just going to get all the experience I can and run all day. And I know if we run consistent all day and finish the race, we'll have a good finish at the end of the day.
The Foyt name continuing the legacy.
All right, Paul, well, coming up, a visit with the 2-time and defending IRL IndyCar Series champ, Sam Hornish Jr., as the countdown to the Indianapolis 500 continues.
Since May 19th, if you don't click it, expect a ticket. Cops write tickets because seatbelts save lives. So click it or ticket.
Since the late 60s, this man has been bringing cars to Indianapolis, and he is accepted as probably the best in the business. Roger Penske, how important is preparation to win the Indianapolis 500?
Well, as you know, Jack, this is all about our people, and people make the difference. And I think our people have been putting out for this race since the beginning of the year. Elio ran 500 miles here before the opening. Jill's run 750 laps. We're going to have over 600 years of experience in our pit box. So what a day. This is a fantastic day. President Bush here. Saw him this morning. I guess this is America.
Jerry, I couldn't have said it any better.
Well, Jack, not only was Sam Hornish Jr. involved in the 2 closest finishes in Indy Racing League history, he won them both. This Smith of Castronetto at Texas, and then he beat Al Unser Jr. at Chicagoland by 24 1/1000ths of a second. And Sam Hornish, given the horsepower deficit you battled all month long with Chevy, what will it take today for you to pull off another one of those photo finish wins here at Indy?
Well, it'll take a lot just to get up there and to be running towards the front, but if I get a chance to win, it'll probably be a photo finish. So, you know, it's just a great feeling to be here and to be here on this day, and I'm really excited for this race. It'll take a lot of patience, a lot of consistency. Guys in the pits are going to have to be faster than they've ever been, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't think we had a shot at it.
Well, Paul, his two Panther teammates echo that confidence. Veteran Billy Boat and former Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Robbie McGee.
In the race at the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan, Scott Dixon, the red and white car, battling with Tony Kanaan. They're fighting for the lead when suddenly they're into the wall. As a result, both were injured, but Scott Dixon, fastest rookie in the field, he's now ready to go. If you look here, you can see the scars of that confrontation. You've been wearing a brace. Are you going to in the race?
Yeah, I'll probably just keep wearing it. You know, it's just for safety reasons. You know, say we do have another crash, at least it won't break right away again. And I think I'm more comfortable with it anyway.
Well, good luck to you. And Scott, his Target Chip Ganassi teammate Thomas Scheckter would like to pick up where he left off last year.
And Thomas, a great run last year as a rookie, leading 85 laps, but unfortunately a turn 4 accident which put you out and maybe cost you victory circle. What have you learned from that, and what can you do this year?
Well, I think I learned that the only important lap to lead is the last one, and otherwise it doesn't make, you know, it's all about drinking milk today, and I think I got the right team and the right crew to do it.
And Bob, I think he might do, and he's actually been wearing his headset here to help him zone in and get him ready for the start of the race.
Certainly a strong team assembled once again this year by Chip Ganassi. On the rainy first day of qualifying this year, Tony Kanaan served up a tasty faceful of cake to his fellow countryman and fellow competitor Elio Castro-Neves on the occasion of Elio's 28th birthday. And Gary Gerald, Tony has a front row starting spot for this year's 500.
Oh, that's got to be the best face planting job I've ever seen. Tony, there's concern you also are wearing a brace today here on the left wrist that was broken. Any concerns about going 500 miles?
Not really, Gary. We're wearing this brace, gives me full mobility in my hand and my arm. I mean, I have all the mobility that I need in the car, and I'm wearing that because I don't want to get hurt again and I don't want to feel any pain. So Dr. Trammell did a great job, so I'm 100%.
Here's a race favorite in the middle of the front row, Jerry.
Well, Gary, two-time Indy 500 winner Arie Luyendyk planned to compete this month for Monon Racing, but after this violent impact on May 9th, he was not medically cleared to drive. Thus, his seat was shuffled to last year's Indy Racing League winner at Nashville, Alex Barrett. And Alex, despite the late start here in the month of May, it seems you and this whole team are very quietly comfortable with what's about to happen. Why so much confidence?
Well, I think I started with a good car with the team. The guys have been working on race setup over at Monon Racing, you know, all month, and I stepped in at a pretty good balance right away. And you know, the Meyer guys have just been great supporting me, and you know, I think we got a really good race car. Carb day, we did minimal laps. Car was perfectly well balanced, and it cooling off today. I think we'll be in good shape.
Well, Bob, lots of the old-timers have labeled this young man the dark horse favorite.
Felipe Giafoni, one of his teammates, walks toward the front stretch. His other teammate is Tora Takagi. Our countdown to the command to start engines is a little more than 20 minutes away. This is ABC's live coverage of Countdown to the Indianapolis 500. The stands are filling up, and the activity has shifted from the garage area to the front stretch, Gary, where 33 machines and crews have now moved.
The next 20 minutes for Michael Andretti may be the toughest because the pre-race ceremonies bring so much emotion. Can he make this just another race? I don't think so. Vince?
One of the final orders of business for Team Kelly was the strategy meeting. Took place just a short while ago. Jack, there were no changes, just reminders between the drivers and the engineers.
Vince, this Marlboro Team Penske team says this is the toughest time. The next 20 minutes. Why? Because nothing really is happening demanding their attention. They told me just a minute ago it's like waiting for the ketchup to come out of the bottle, Bob.
Well, the command to start engines now just 17 minutes away, and in a few minutes the straightaway will be void of people. But right now, somewhere in the mass of humanity surrounding the cars is our own Scott Goodyear.
Oh, Bob, you can feel the excitement. You can feel the anticipation of the race here down here on the grid. You know, this is the last row that we're standing at right now, and I can tell you that all the drivers are looking forward to sliding into their cockpit. Ayrton Daré is going to start 33rd and dead last, exactly where I started in 1992 when I finished the closest finish ever to Al Unser Jr. Now, as these guys look forward to the start, what they have to contend with is all these cars that are in front of them. All the fumes are going to come to them. They're going to burn their eyes. They're going to burn their throat. There's so much turbulent air that the wheel's going to be forced out of their hand. They have to survive the first lap, and if they do that, then they have to go 500 miles and catch the drivers in front of them that have already started 1/4 of a mile ahead. Gary?
Well, one of those drivers that has the luxury of starting right up front is Robbie Gordon, and what a history at Indianapolis. We remember the drama of the fire in 1997. And then, of course, 2 years later, he's leading the race only to run out of fuel with 2 laps to go. And what an agenda today. Getting his picture taken on the yard of bricks, Robbie Gordon will attempt again today the double-double. He's planning to drive 600 miles tonight at Charlotte in his Winston Cup car after 500 miles today. He acknowledges the crowd right now with a wave, and this man, I can't imagine what he must be going through before this day is over, but he firmly believes he can win both races, Vince.
Well, and Scott Sharp believes he can win this race as well. Sharp is the current IndyCar Series points leader. 35 years old from Norwalk, Connecticut. He's a former pole winner here at Indianapolis, and he has won a race in 7 straight Indy Racing League seasons, including last month's race at Japan. Scott Sharp, it has been certainly a very trying season for you this year, but you came off the big win in Japan and you're the points leader here. What would it mean to win Indianapolis?
I wouldn't call it trying season. We're leading the points. We won a race already, but
early.
Things are great for the Delphi team. We have a strong car today. The guys have worked real hard. We just got to be there all day. That's our program. Be worried about being fast at the end.
Congratulations on being the points leader, and good luck today.
Thanks.
Bob.
All right, well, we are approaching the time when the opening ceremonies will begin. For some, the most emotional moments in all of sports.
Ladies and gentlemen.
To you by 7-Eleven. We make it fresh. You get it fast. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
It's Memorial Day weekend in these United States, and our thoughts now turn to the pre-race ceremonies. We'll be joining the Speedway's public address system in a few moments for first the national anthem, a recognition of Memorial Day, taps, the singing of Back Home Again in Indiana, and then the command to start engines. Here's Dave Calabro.
After September 11th, and is now a national recording artist. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to please rise, remove your hats as we pay tribute to our nation. Here to sing the Star-Spangled Banner is New York Police Officer Daniel Rodriguez. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ringing, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still red. Oh, citizens, that star-spangled banner yet wave. O'er the land of the free.
We're just moments away from the moment we've been waiting for. Countdown to the Indy 500 will return after this from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
And as a number, now speed is an art form, blurring the line between driver and machine. For Elio Castroneves, speed is still a number. 3, as in 3 straight victories at the Brickyard, a feat never achieved in the history of the Indianapolis 500. Can he go from the pole to victory lane? Or will Michael Andretti in his final Indy 500 realize his dream? Could this be Sam Hornish Jr.'s day? Or rookie A.J. Foyt IV's? Can Unser Jr., Brad, Lazier relive their greatest thrill? Or will Sarah Fisher make history? It all comes down to speed. It all comes down to today. It all comes together at the Indianapolis 500.
ABC Sports is live in the capital of auto racing, and this is the 87th Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven. Pre-race ceremonies here at the Yard of Bricks in front of the Bombardier Pagoda continue. In just a few moments, we will rejoin the public address system on this Memorial Day weekend as we honor those men and women who are currently in uniform and those who have given their lives in service to their country. The solitude that hangs over the track at this moment will continue for only a few moments. And then the silence will be shattered by the roar of 33 engines. Here is Dave Calabro once again.
Is General Jack Keane, Vice Chief of Staff, United States Army.
Thank you. In a moment, we will hear the solemn bugle call of taps. As you listen, remember our fallen heroes who were willing to risk everything they cared about in life so that we could gather here today in freedom. We are a nation at war. On behalf of the men and women in uniform, thank you so very much for the tremendous support that race fans and Americans everywhere have shown for our armed forces. In 228 years, your armed forces has never, ever failed the American people, and we never will. We are so very proud to represent America. We are very determined to protect you and our way of life. We will not let you down. God bless you all, and God bless this wonderful nation, our beloved America. Thank you.
His voice has become an institution here at the 500. Here to perform back home again in Indiana, our good friend, Mr. Jim Neighbors.
Push it back in the field.
Back home again in Indiana, and it seems that I can see the gleaming candlelight still burning bright through the sycamores for me. The new warm hay sends out its fragrance through the fields I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on how I long for my Indiana home.
Mr. Jim Neighbors.
And now, to speak the most famous words in motorsports is the chairperson of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mary Hallman George.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Classic moments, the ceremonies and the preparation for the start at Indianapolis. Drivers are in, their straps pulled down until they're painful, ready for 200 laps, 500 miles. Right now, in the cockpit, the drivers consider the moment.
It's pretty fantastic. We wait all year long for this. This is the Super Bowl of motorsports.
The hair standing up on the back of your neck, and you just kind of settle into a rhythm.
That's when the butterflies kind of start going away, when you start the engines and you roll.
I'll be in pretty good shape, but I never know. I might get all misty out there.
Ready to go. I mean, that's when everything starts, when the heart rate goes up a little bit.
Once it fires up and get rolling, you get right into game phase.
So many different things go through your mind all at one time. It's pretty much what I've lived for.
It's just goosebumps everywhere. I mean, there's something so special about this place and those particular words.
33 magnificent racing machines. Magnificent in its own right, the pace car for the 87th running of the Indy 500. The Chevy SSR pace car. 4 of them sit in front of the field now, and then one will pull away. Let's take a final look at this year's Miller High Life starting grid, front row. Castro Neves is going for a record 3rd win in a row. Kanan crashed while leading last year. 2 rookies, New Zealand's Dixon, England's Weldon pair up with Sweden's Kenny Breck, who won in '99. Former pole sitter Scott Sharp shares the 3rd row with 2 rookies. Row 4, De Ferran finished 2nd 2 years ago. Scheckter led 85 laps last year. Andretti has driven over 61,000 miles in his career. He has 500 to go. Unser Jr. is looking for his 3rd Indy 500 victory. A rookie and the Lazier brothers. In row 7, Buddy won the 596. The youngest driver ever to compete in the Indy 500. Voigt the 4th, and Sarah Fisher will start in here 4th. Barron ran 4th a year ago, and Mira has the fastest Chevy in the field. 2 road racers, and then Boat, a short track midget star. All 3 in the last row came to Indy without a ride, but remained focused on their dreams. Here's our inside line. The stories that we're following. Elio can make history, but Michael hopes to break the Andretti bad luck streak in his final Indy drive. And then Voigt, Andretti, Unser's. The families are at it again, and Andretti's name may not appear for some time. And then could we have a rookie winner out of the 9? And Chevy, Honda, and Toyota. A win here means big bucks in the showroom, Scott.
Michael, the slide in cockpit for the very last time this morning. Any second thoughts today?
There's no second thoughts. I'm ready for this race. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a great finish. Nice to be here in my calm office now after this hectic week.
Well, we wish you all the best. Good luck.
Our AT&T wireless race analysis. 200 laps, 2.5 miles around. The track is 50 wide, rimmed with walls. 227 miles an hour, and well over $1 million await the winner.
Scott Sharp, you've had some bad luck this month, but do you feel this might be your lucky day?
Yeah, Scott, we're excited for the Delphi team. The whole team's worked real hard. We have a good race car. We're focused at the end of the race. We want to be fast at the end.
Well, you've been fast. Good luck today, my friend.
Now as the 33 roll towards that green flag, let's check in with our reporters again. Jerry Punch is high in the Bombardier Pagoda.
Well, Paul, this tiny cubicle on the 9th floor of the pagoda is where every major decision will be made between right now and when the checkered flag waves on the Indianapolis 500. This man here will be talking to all the medical people. fire truck dispatches here. These two guys here are talking to observers around the course. Mel Harder here will be talking to the flagman, the pace car driver, and all the officials, and the man ultimately in charge, Senior Vice President of Operations, Brian Barnhart. Jack Arute, there is tremendous pressure on the shoulders of these 6 men.
There's also pressure, Jerry, down on pit road. It's more than a third of a mile long, and at least 8, maybe 9, maybe 10 times these cars will come in for service, Gary Gerald.
Pit location, Jack, always very important. And the teams that are closest to pit out or the exit always insist they've got a distinct advantage. Basically because once their car is serviced and they leave the pits, there's less congestion to deal with. And the honor of having the best pit position today goes to the fastest qualifier. He's also the defending champion, Helio Castroneves. Vince Welch?
Handling the tools of the trade will be critical in the pits today. Failing to secure a tire, that can cost you the race. Failure to properly insert or remove the fuel hose can prohibit the proper amount of fuel from getting into the race car or create an invisible and devastating fire. If you are to win the race today, you cannot afford a mistake in this 47-foot space this afternoon. Paul?
Well, Vince, 2 major racing series race on the Indy Oval. The IRL is the fastest by nearly 50 miles an hour more than Cup. And Indy cars, unlike Cup, remember, start 3 wide at Indianapolis. Let's take a look at the track conditions, Scott Goodyear. The wind's light. There's a very remote chance of rain in the forecast.
And Paul, that's nothing to worry about with that wind. Nothing that these drivers are going to be concerned about. They're going to have more wind coming from the turbulent air coming from the cars. The temperature and track temperature are perfect for fast racing.
And now the field, still single file, looking to line up for the pace lap itself. 1 to go until the 87th running of the Indy 500. Log on now to ESPN.com and play along with today's race on Enhanced TV, presented by Miller High Life. Everyone started, everybody looking good. And there once again is that Chevy SSR pace car. 14 years before, Chevy has paced the Indianapolis 500 starting back in the 40s.
Paul, this is when the drivers are now just starting to get their focus in completely. They've been here all month doing promotional events, doing Fan Fest, doing all the things that they have to do for sponsors. This is what they've been working for. Sliding inside the cockpit. Look how close these guys are. There's a mind game going on there right now. They're trying to set the tone for the green flag.
And plenty of onboard cameras for you as well. They take the long backstretch, flat on what every driver says is the best maintained race course in the world. Flat and smooth.
Flat, Paul, and not only 9-degree banking in the turns, your car has to work perfectly for you if you're going to be fast here for the 500 miles.
So much riding on this race. They form their rows of 3 up into the north end of the track now. Castroneves, Kanaan, Gordon, the front row. They take a look at the North Short Chute. Chevy pace car begins to accelerate. The field will go to the control of Helio Castroneves, the pole sitter, 2-time winner, looking for an unprecedented 3 in a row. Accelerates, green flag is out. They're racing the 87th running of the Indy 500. Castroneves and Kanaan, first and second in turn 1.
A couple of clean turns. I spoke to Brian Barnhart this morning, Paul. He said he was concerned for the start of this race. There's so many guys that are so competitive. He just wanted to make sure they could get through the first couple of laps and have everybody's nerves settle down.
Up through the north end. Helio Castroneves from the pole with Tony Kanaan in pursuit. Castroneves leads the first lap at Indianapolis. Then Kanaan, Gordon, rookie Dan Weldon comes into 4th. Then Kenny Brett.
And Paul, on that start, we saw a green 7-Eleven car actually going through traffic. Michael Andretti went from his starting position of 13th all the way up to 8th within 1 lap.
2 of the Andretti green drivers, Robbie Gordon and Dan Weldon, battle now for 3rd place, upper left-hand corner. We'll keep track of the top 3 for you. And down below, we'll keep track of the rest of the field. Running order will be in throughout the race. At the front now, Kanaan starting to work the leader, Helio Castroneves.
Paul, it didn't take them long to get up to speed. The first time by was 208 miles an hour. Those last lap was 222, 223 for the guys out front. So this pace has already been fast right away.
Tony Kanaan, remember, is involved. We showed it to you early in that accident at Motegi with Scott Dixon. And he, too, has been favoring not only a wrist, but he had a puncture wound in his thigh.
As we drive along here, you saw his hand shift up to the gears in 6th, going it down the straightaway, and then down going into the turns. He's actually using the gearbox right now. The car is full of fuel. So what he's doing, he's actually grabbing the gear shift, and he's actually changing gears on the fly.
Battle at the front at Indianapolis on the backstretch. Helio Castroneves is leading this thing strong right now, Jack.
It is not too soon to begin to talk the driver down after the emotion of a start. They have already started to tell Helio Castroneves, Tim Cindric has, just calm down, find the rhythm, and stay out front.
And of course, in this fight at the front, we're already seeing that battle of the blocks develop. Toyota leading it right now. Honda wants to lead it. Tony Kanaan has a Honda in 2nd place. Roger Penske keeping track of his 2 cars. Both Castroneves, the 3 car, and the 6 car of Gil de Ferran.
Gil de Ferran right now is running in 11th spot. He's more the calculated driver, Paul, out of the 2. Castroneves himself is very, very eager, ready to get going, and you heard that they're trying to just calm him down, get him into a pace. De Ferran reminds me a little bit of Rick Mears, very calculated. He'll be thinking about his car right now. What does my car need to do to go faster? He'll be communicating with the pits over the 2-way radio saying, this is what my car is doing. I need to have this next in the pit stop. Can you please give me this adjustment? Watch for him to go faster after every pit stop.
The pace in these early laps is blistering. Here are the guys on the new. Michael Andretti moved up 13. There's the rest of the group. Al Unser Jr. 17th up to 13. Report on Foyt the 4th.
A.J. Foyt the 4th turns 19 years old today. He's the least experienced driver in the field, and automatically right out of the gate they've had a bit of a problem with the radio communication. You know, A.J. Foyt wants to be in his grandson's ear, and he can't do it right now. Can't talk his driver down, as Jack made note of, to calm him down and relax him because they don't have radio communication to the driver.
Yeah, in a way, that may be good for Foyt the 4th.
Well, we've heard many times that Foyt actually maybe gets on the radio and can be very loud, but you're right, Paul, maybe it might be the best thing.
Back at the front, Helio Castroneves is running laps at 225.2 miles an hour. Tony Kanaan right behind him. Felipe Giafone.
Tell me what your problem is the motor running or you got no power? No power.
Well, he says no power, but the engine is running. You can hear it running, but he's actually got no power. That means there could be something going on with the fuel system or the electrics. They're going to have to get through that and maybe look down the computer and see what's happening with it.
Promising driver for the Morris Nunn team.
One of the top ones. Just think of how strong he was last year, a race winner last year in the IRL.
Guys, they have shut the engine down for Giafone now, and they'll begin that methodical check of the electronics. He has to just set it as patiently as he can.
Officials are now taking a look at Roger Yasukawa's car as the yellow light comes out. And that's the way we're going to show you the yellow. Billy Boat. Plume at the back of the car. Might be a little premature to say it's the engine, but it sure doesn't look good.
Well, give Billy some credit because he got right off the racetrack and on the apron, so he didn't oil the track down.
So Billy Boat brings out the first yellow at Indianapolis, 8 laps complete. And in the record book, Castroneves leads Tony Kanaan, and Robbie Gordon is in 3rd.
Motor Speedway in the first time for the 500-mile race. Billy Boat showing some smoke from the back of that car, and so immediately the yellow was thrown on to make sure there is no oil on the racetrack. Now, we do have some pit stops occurring at the bottom of your screen. Michael Andretti and Tony Kanaan. Just leaving the pits right there is Robbie Gordon. So it's a little early for regularly scheduled pit stops, only 10 laps completed. But now Andretti and Kanaan both have service and go back out onto the warm-up lane. And of course, the pit stops are so important. It could mean the difference between winning and losing. And Jack Arute has a closer look at a pit stop here at Indy.
Organized mayhem, automotive ballet, the race within the race, a cauldron of emotion, danger, and speed. The IndyCar pit stop often is what separates winners from the rest. A driver must enter the pit box with precision, miss the mark, and the fuel hose won't reach the car. The right front tire changer polices this, then changes the Firestone tire. A single wheel nut off, tire and wheel exchanged, and then the next step. Aerodynamic adjustments initiated by changing wing angle. The front wings are the right front crewman's responsibility. He turns them up or down by twisting tiny handles on the nose of the car. He also scans the rest of the crew's work and oncoming traffic. He makes the call when it's safe to exit the pit box. The fueling process is left to two crewmen. They attach an air supply to the car and put in fuel at 4 gallons per second. The rear tire changer must be adept at multitasking. Once he's finished changing the rear tire, he makes any rear wing adjustments required, and then stands by to restart the car should it stall. Now, done correctly, this dance takes just 12 seconds. How does that compare to your regular pit stop? Congratulations, you just lost the Indy 500.
And the reason why Andretti Green, the entire team pitted, they are trying to make as many pit stops as possible under caution. When you've got 10 or 11, Scott, you want to get them under yellow if you can.
Jack, you're absolutely right. Let's get in touch with Sarah Fisher. Sarah, Scott Goodyear up here in the booth. Can you tell me how your start went and how your car is working for you?
Well, the start wasn't as great as I wanted. Third gear is a little off for us today, but the car is excellent. I'm just buying some time. The start was pretty crazy from the back here, so we'll have patience and get to the end.
Well, patience is a key. Good luck. And boy, don't we know that patience is the key for all these drivers to get through 500 miles today, Paul.
One of the members of the Andretti Green team, Dan Weldon, did not make a pit stop, but because of that, he has now inherited second position. So it's Elio Castroneves in the lead with Dan Weldon second, followed by Kenny Breck, Tora Takagi, and Scott Dixon. Those are your top 5 as we are under caution for the first time. And again, nothing serious. Billy Boat had a huge amount of smoke come back into that car. He coasted to a stop at the south end of the racetrack. But immediately the caution was thrown on because any amount of moisture on the racetrack can be a serious problem, of course, for these drivers at 230 miles an hour. Back in a moment.
This 500 presented by 7-Eleven on ABC Sports, brought to you by 7-Eleven. When it comes to fresh, 7-Eleven has it made. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. AT&T Wireless brings you M-Life, your mobile life made better. And FedEx, Ground International, Online or Express. Don't worry, there's a FedEx for that.
Back at Indianapolis on pit road, the heartbreak of a man who finished third last year. What happened, Felipe Giafone?
Well, we don't know yet. Apparently it's something electrical that happened. I mean, nothing to do with the engine itself. It's just stopped running pretty much. It's pretty frustrating, you know. After a month working hard, you know, we'll see.
All right, we've got to get ready for green.
Elio Castroneves brings them back to the green flag. Dan Weldon, a rookie, in second place. He got another former winner, Kenny Breck, right behind him. First 8 laps under green, they averaged a blistering 222.6. Also behind the leader. We're going to keep track of a number of cars today. There was your restart order. Let's go behind the leader, Bob Jenkins.
Well, Robbie Gordon made the pit stop, of course, but we expect him to move up quickly. Right now, he's in 20th position. And as a matter of fact, just lost a spot, it looks like. but we expect Robbie Gordon to move up quickly. He was one of 4 drivers who made pit stops during that first caution. Michael Andretti drops back to 24th, Kanaan to 23rd, Renna to 25th, and Gordon to 20th as Castroneves continues to lead by less than a second, and the yellow is out again, a car in the wall.
And it's Sarah Fisher. You see her moving, so she's obvious. Takes the steering wheel off, a sign, an indication to the safety crews that she is okay.
A short day for her, Paul, and this is what drivers, as you heard Felipe Giafoni say, you know something, difficult to be here all month and then have a crash.
Take a look at a little bit of Sarah Fisher's history here. In 2000, of course, she became friendly with the wall through an accident. It really wasn't her problem. And then in 01, backed it in hard. Fortunately, was not injured in either crash and does not appear injured today. But Scott, it has to bring us to the question, as we watch Sarah now out of the car, has to lead us to the question, restart. The temperature is not as warm as it could be. Could that be a problem for cold tires?
Well, look, it might be, Paul. It looked like it got to the center of the turn. The back end started to come around from her. And you know something? With these cold temperatures that we have right now, it does take a couple of laps to get the tire temperatures back up to perfection. Vince?
Down to Vince Welch.
Mark Wida is Sarah Fisher's engineer. Cold tires on that restart a possibility?
Blew the motor. She just as she turned in, oil pressure went to 0, locked up the rear, and put her in the fence.
Jerry Punch?
Well, one of the early yellows, Billy Boat, we saw the smoke from the back of the car. Did you have any warning at all, Billy?
No warning at all. The Panther Pedigo Chevrolet was running great. You know, we were just biding our time right at the start of the race, just trying to be patient. And, you know, we had some kind of an engine problem there and down the front straightaway. It's an unfortunate, I think it's the earliest I've ever exited this race. It's not fun to be a spectator.
Early exit for the 98 pole sitter, Bob.
So the caution is on once again here in Indianapolis, this time because of contact with the wall by Sarah Fisher. And now with 16 laps completed, it does come to the time where we may see more pit stops than we did on the first caution, which came at lap 10. Saturday night, the Stanley Cup Finals return to ABC. Great goaltenders lead the way as New Jersey takes on Anaheim. Devils, Mighty Ducks, Game 3, Stanley Cup Finals presented by Nextel. Saturday night at 8 Eastern right here on ABC Sports Championship Television.
And so's Weldon. Weldon's coming. I got Weldon and Castroneves.
We do indeed expect Helio Castroneves to make a pit stop here. He is in the warm-up lane, and so that's a pretty good indication that the leader is going to relinquish that position to make a pit stop. We'll see how many behind him do likewise. That's Dan Weldon tucked in right behind, and Kenny Breck third, and it looks like that all of those guys are indeed headed for pit road for service here on the 17th lap of the race.
And Bob, that's why I was saying that they were both coming in, because remember, neither of them pitted the last time out. So Dan Weldon is going to come in. Castroneves has the pit at the farthest end. So now it's 60 miles an hour, a drive we would have on the highway, but it seems like you're crawling along to get your service. Expect no changes on Helio Castroneves. He likes the balance on his car. Dan Weldon, the reason they didn't pit the last time was they were concerned about the restarts. We saw that maybe they were a bit prophetic. Off and away in 7.5 seconds, a very fast stop for the leader.
Well, there's the pit exit, and as the cars come out, the yellow, or rather the green or red arrows will indicate either a position gained or positions lost. So Scott Dixon, who did not make a pit stop, is the leader. The 87th running of the Indy 500 presented by 7-Eleven will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
Continues on ABC Sports.
Back at the Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven. We're on board with Al Unser Jr. now, as he is and the others are under caution. Scott, let's talk to him.
Al Jr., a lot of experience here, and right now you're actually got some great position on the track. What's the strategy for you?
Well, we're just working our way up through. My guys just had an awesome pit stop that put us right behind Helio, and really good. So, you know, it's still way early in the race, so we'll just keep going.
Well, good luck, and we hope that you have an opportunity to get your third. Good luck.
Thank you.
Two drivers have not made pit stops. Scott Dixon, who is the leader of the race, and Ayrton Dare, who started in the 33rd position, has not pitted, and so he is second. Today's driver radio transmissions are brought to you by 10-10-9-8-7. So the lineup right now: Dixon, Dare, Andretti, Gordon, and Kanaan, the top five. And when Dixon took the lead, he became, Jack, the 180th different driver to lead Indy.
And Bob, one of the things with multi-car teams is a lot of running up and down pit road, trying to cross-reference information one against the other. That's the case with Target Chip Ganassi's team with Thomas Scheckter and our leader, Scott Dixon. Well, they've unveiled a brand new product so they don't have to run so much. It's a flat screen where they can actually, in real time, communicate back and forth between each other without having to make the run. It may be only 20 or 30 feet, Vince Welch, but at 20 or 30 feet on foot, that could be a couple of car lengths out on the racetrack.
Well, it certainly has been an eventful race so far for A.J. Foyt Racing. First of all, Anthony Foyt had problems with the connector on his earpiece. A.J. wasn't happy with it at all, and you see the end result. It's now in two separate pieces. And then when Anthony was trying to avoid that crash, he and Robbie McGee nearly touched, and you see you've got the white wall there for Anthony Foyt as he brushed up against the outside wall. Upstairs.
19 laps completed at Indianapolis. Under caution, we should be green when we come back to Indy. Stay with us.
Presented by 7-Eleven on ABC Sports. Brought to you by 7-Eleven. We make it fresh. You get it fast. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Chevrolet. Wherever there's a winner's circle, we'll be there. And Miller High Life. To live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life.
Back at the Indianapolis 500, presented by 7-Eleven. Scott Dixon, the red and white car, leads the field around. And in second place there is Dare, who's had a magnificent run. But remember, first and second have not stopped. Third is Michael Andretti.
And Paul, Michael Andretti's the master. You watch him, he'll end up getting a draft off of Dare, I'm sure, and try and make the move coming up to turn one.
And exactly that. Michael Andretti chasing the leader now, moves to second. Dixon, Andretti, Dare, Gordon, Kanaan, and Renna. You look at Michael Andretti's car. It's number 7, of course, but it's clearly nearly identical to Tony Kanaan's number 11 car. Just look, the top of the intake, the red pod is the difference.
Call that restart lap 217 miles an hour. So those guys are already doing 225 down the straightaways going in the turns. Expect this one to be in the 223, 225 range, and those guys will then be doing over 230 miles an hour going down the straightaway.
Here is Tony Kanaan lined up behind Robbie Gordon. The question that's bothering me now is we've had 2 yellows, both for engines, one engine then contact with a wall, Sarah Fisher. Both of those were Chevrolet.
And Paul, they thought that they had everything under control, but they've done some 500-mile tests here. Matter of fact, Billy Boat did a 600-mile test in between the first and second qualifying weekend, but we don't know everything about it at this point in time, but we'll keep our eye on it. The other thing that we have to watch out for is Hattori's gone back behind the pit wall to fix a fuel pressure problem, and Giafoni is out with possible fuel pressure problem, and both of those are Toyota power plants.
The fastest or highest performing Chevrolet at the moment is Jimmy Kite, who's back in 13th. Full page, we're back at the Indianapolis 500, presented by 7-Eleven. 87th running at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rookie Scott Dixon, starting from the second row, is leading. You see the top 3. Here comes Tony Kanaan working on his teammate Gordon.
A nice move, the same move that Michael did in Daré. Get the draft, go around the outside. You can tell that both of those guys are confident with their car. That's a hard line to get around.
But both of those passes, as Gordon's going to have to defend himself here now, as Vassar comes into the fight. And Vassar brings young Tony Renna with him, but Renna gets trapped behind Gordon now. He's going to try the inside.
He's looking, he's staying there. Gordon knows he's there. His spotter will be telling him, hey, you got one underneath you, got one underneath you. Finally, he wins the turn.
Everybody trying to make the move now. Vassar to the inside. Richie Hearn comes into the fight. Two Penske cars are right there. Castro Neves in 9th, De Ferran in 11th. Since the restart, here are the cars on the move. De Ferran, no surprise. Barron's given his car a great run. Shigeaki Hattori, during the last yellow, they took his car back to the garage area. Hasn't been listed out officially yet, but they were worried about something with the engine. On board Al Unser Jr., the Firestone telemetry from Little Al's car. Unser is back at 10th.
Oh, you see that little green arrow that they say with tire temp right there, actually, and that's what we're looking for when you see that. The drivers know that the tires are perfectly up to temperature and their pressure is there, and they can get on it 110%. Off the throttle, a little bit of dirty air in front of them from the car ahead. It's actually turbulent. It's like following a tractor trailer on the highway. You get buffeted around and actually shakes the car around. Does not feel confident keeping your foot on the gas.
You saw him go from nearly 3 G's positive in the corner to actually a negative G.
And that's because when you come out, the car actually is getting that G loading, and then you come out to straighten out the car, and then you get going down the straightaway. And these things are quite a run through the turns. Always seeing 2, sometimes 3.5 Gs.
Back down to the pits in Jackaroo.
Well, Paul, Michael Andretti is trying to change gears. He's trying 5th, he's trying 6th, as he tries to chase down the leader, Scott Dixon. Pretty soon it'll be a moot point, though, because Dixon is scheduled to pit on lap 42. Meanwhile, Tony Kanaan has lost some of his onboard display on his steering wheel. And it's a critical one, Scott Goodyear. It displays the miles per gallon he's getting in the race.
Well, Jack, the most important thing now, we talk about the telemetry. All that information is being beamed back from the race car to the pit location. So even though he may not be able to read it on the steering wheel, hopefully his engineers will still be able to understand what kind of fuel mileage he's getting by looking at their computer. Now, if both computers are out, what you end up having to do is turn around, go back to the old-fashioned pen and paper.
Lap since the last time they were in the pits. 29 for Dixon. You figure 32 under green flag is probably the max distance, because they're burning about a gallon a lap. But under yellow, well, you make a lot of fuel. Kenny Breck, after his last stop, he was really thundering to the front, but now he appears to be in trouble.
Oh, he is in definite trouble. He has slipped all the way back to the 19th position at last report. On the pit stop, he came in 3rd. The revs on idle were off, and he stalled the car. That's what cost him all that time. Simply told him that the next time he comes in, he'll have to be heavy on the throttle, keep the revs up when he comes into the pits. But that could be an all-day problem for Kenny Breck.
Michael Andretti, 2nd place, behind rookie Scott Dixon. See the battle for 3rd come through there, Daré and Kanaan. On board, Tony Kanaan. Beginning Wednesday night, June 4th, ABC Sports is your new home for the NBA Finals. Last night, Jason Kidd, Kenyon Martin, and the Nets swept their way into the championship. Now they wait the winner of the Mavericks-Spurs series. Coverage of Game 1 begins Wednesday night, June 4th at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC Sports Championship Television. Scott Dixon keeping an eye on him because he slowed a little. Andretti went to the lead.
Well, you know, it could be a fuel pickup problem, because if they try to extend their fuel run a little bit too long, the car will be starving for fuel in the middle of the turns where the G loading is the most. And that sounds like right now he's soft throttling it. He's just trying to get back to the pit lane.
This is Dixon. The second go.
Oh, yeah, you can hear it, Paul. Right in the middle of the turn where the G's are highest. They're definitely searching for fuel.
And guys, that's going to be something of note for the Conseco team and Ayrton Dare, because they were keeping an eye on the Target team. They said Target is our target, but the Dare team was not planning to come in until lap 40. So if Dixon is slowing because of a lack of fuel, certainly the Dare team is going to take note and maybe come in sooner.
33 laps. 33 laps for Ayrton Dare, second place since he was in. The start of the race, in fact.
The engine is still running. They do not seem to think that it is a fuel issue, although they have checked the telemetry, and they can't find anything that's wrong with the car, so it's a 10-second stop.
Accelerating fine here.
Well, Paul, you know, it's very interesting now. This is another Toyota engine, and we've had two Toyota engines with some suspected, not underlying suspected fuel pressure problems so far. So maybe this is something we might see reoccurring throughout the event.
Seventh time Michael's led, and the first time that a Honda-powered car has led since Scott Goodyear did in 1995. So Michael Andretti driving his last race. Rookie of the year, co-rookie with Roberto Guerrero when he arrived. Storied history, but never an Indy 500 win.
We've heard Michael say that he wants to lead the last lap. I'm sure that he wishes this was almost the end of the race right now. He knows he's got a long time to go, and did some very smart driving when he was behind Dixon. He knew that Dixon had to come into the pits. He did not have to push the issue, put himself at risk. He could just sit back there and run a nice strong pace, which they've been doing here. 222, 223 in the last few laps. A pretty strong race pace, Paul.
Back in the field, rookie Tony Renner, Richie Hearn, and Helio Castroneves have been fighting it out. Unser Jr. and Scheckter side by side as well.
What's impressive with this run right now, that is Dare is still hanging in second. Unfortunately, he's got to have another stop, but at least it tells you that his car is running pretty strong out of the A.J. Foyt stable.
It's Honda, Toyota, Honda, the front three in that block battle. Rookies were looking good when Dixon was at front. Now Renna back in seventh, the highest placed rookie.
And Paul, you talk about the engine manufacturers, the battle of the block, as you call it. Chevrolet, Toyota, and Honda all have a shot at winning today, but obviously Chevrolet has won this event. But if Toyota or Honda ends up winning, it will be the first time a Japanese engine manufacturer has won the Indianapolis 500.
Scott, let's update you on Scott Dixon and why he came in, and also why he faltered there, as we saw. He thought they had a Firestone tire going down. They checked all four tires. They loaded it up with fuel. So let's cancel out any concerns about the power plant. It was just a feel in the race car, and it was the wrong feel.
You saw Gil de Ferran without question on the move. And they may be expecting Ayrton Dare, second place car, to make a stop just any time now. And when Michael Andretti finishes this lap, he'll have 100 miles in the record book. Only 400 to go. Tora Takagi on the move, inside of Unser Jr.
And lurking right behind him, Sam Hornish Jr. They've talked about the Chevrolet power plant. Maybe doesn't have as much power as he wants. Some radio contact there from the engineer. 3 more clicks of weight jacker. That means Sam has reported in. The car is not working well. It's understeering. That weight jacker puts some left front weight on the tire. That will help him get through the turn.
You're clear, you're clear.
That's Jim Weldon right behind him. This is a battle between Chevy and Honda power. Hornish has the Chevy. Second place, Ayrton Dari has rolled for the pits.
That looks like a slow run in, Paul, I got to tell you. Usually you hustle yourself in there, wheels locked up, and stop on your mark so they can get those 4 tires and the fuel in.
Pit speed limit is 60 miles an hour, and after 225, that does look slow.
And watch right here. There were some problems going in with the fuel section there. The guy was fighting with it, and I will assure you that stop's going to be a lot longer. Look how long that's going, 17, 18. They didn't get that in at the very beginning. Could not get it snuck in there. That cost them almost double the time.
One of the things about the Indianapolis 500 is a normal race throughout the season be 24, 25 cars. Indy is 33 starting. And so you have to put together for Indy crews that don't necessarily work with one another throughout the year. Dari's crew would be one of those examples.
Well, it's actually right, because if you look at the crew members' uniforms, they were imported over from A.J. Foyt's NASCAR Winston Cup effort for his son, Larry, 1 year ago. They had to ship them up from Charlotte.
And as we watch this battle that continues, Unser Jr., Hornish, and Weldon, look at the nose on Weldon's car. Looks like he's been closely speaking to someone during this run. That's Robbie Gordon to the outside. Keeping track of things going on behind the leader. Back to Bob Jenkins.
We wanted to mention Thomas Schechter, who has indeed moved up 6 positions since his initial green flag, started in 12th spot and is currently running in 6th. He has also turned the fastest speed of the race with a lap at 227.540 miles an hour. We all remember how well he did last year. He's having a good race so far this year too, Paul.
Having a terrific race right until the exit of turn 4. Led the most laps here of anybody since 2000.
Led 85 laps, Paul, and he certainly had the opportunity to win it until the crash at lap 173 in turn 4. But interesting, saw him this morning, headset on, listening to music. He almost didn't even know that there was almost 350,000 people here. He was just right in the zone.
It was fun, though, to watch a number of the rookies, Dixon and Renna and Weldon, come to mind. As we were making the walk, they had just headed out to the pit area a few moments before, and they were doing what you said you were told not to do. They looked up.
Paul, I remember that. All the veterans tell you when you come here for the very first time, you walk out that gasoline alley, keep your head down, focus on what your job's going to be. Don't look up. You've been here all month. Even though there's 50,000 people here during practice and qualifying days, this place is so big. It's just big, it's bare, it's dark. You come here on race day, there's warmth, there's color, there's movement in the stands, and you just don't want to look up. I made that mistake the first year, looked up and went, oh my word.
Andretti Green teammates, Kanan and Michael. Michael at the front. Robbie Gordon, third member of this 4-car team, restarted in 4th on lap 22nd, but he's fallen back. He's now 10th. Here's the AT&T race analysis to this point. Michael's now led 13 of them. He wants to lead the 199th and 200th.
Average speed's not really indicative of what's going on right now. The green flag average, as you see, is 220. And as we're watching these guys go by, we routinely see 222 and 224 miles an hour. Gary?
Jimmy Vasser has very quietly moved from all the way back. And Scott, you talked early in the pre-race show about how tough it is to come up. He started 27th, but the veteran who's running here for the 8th or 9th time is now in 3rd place. Bobby Rahal on the wall in communication with his driver. They made no changes on the pit stop. They love the way this car is responding to the track conditions and the weather conditions today.
Checking out that lead, Team Andretti Green, Jack Arute.
Well, we watched the 1-2 combination. We call them the big gulps. And now, until the next pit stop, which is coming up shortly, they're going to make a gurney flap change on Michael Andretti, the leader. They have decided that they are going to try and hook up and just draft their way away from that third-place machine of Jimmy Vasser. Guys?
And beginning to come up on lap traffic for the first time in the run. Back on board Scheckter. 37 laps since Michael Andretti last was in the pits. He should be in shortly. The Indianapolis 500, Andretti's in front. A look down that long straightaway at Indianapolis, 5/8 of a mile long, only 50 feet wide. Michael Andretti, the leader of the race. And shortly he is expected into the pit. His teammate, Tony Kanaan, second place, should be in as well. Jimmy Vasser is third. It is logical that Vasser would come in, and that would give the lead back to Helio Castroneves.
And Paul, just before we broke away, you heard Jack talk about a gurney flap change possibly on Michael Andretti's car. What that is a little piece of aero that's on the back of the wing that actually helps the aerodynamics of the car. They can put a larger one on to get more grip and a smaller one on to get less grip. Here he comes.
As expected, Michael Andretti on the pit road.
Green flag stop. You might lose a lap here, 60 miles an hour in the pit lane. You cannot go over or you'll be having a penalty. You have to come in for what they call a stop and go. Looks for his pit box.
Kanaan stays out, assumes the lead. Vasser is now second.
There will be no gurney flap exchange. In fact, it was the car owner, Michael Andretti, who waved off that decision as he pulled down pit road. Just 35 gallons of methanol for Brandon. You could hear the revs as he tried to keep it up, off and away quickly.
So Michael away clean. Tony Kanaan picks up the lead, but he comes into the pit.
That's a tear-off coming off the shield you just saw there, Paul.
And Jimmy Vasser's on pit road as well, as expected. But Thomas Scheckter understood what was at stake. He got around Castroneves as Michael Andretti headed for pit road and now has the lead.
Watching the service for Jimmy Vasser. We'll see if they make any aero changes. None whatsoever. Balance perfect. Number 19 is rolling with a great stop for the Ray. All letters.
No changes on Tony Kanaan as well. Just seems to be an extremely long time. Problems getting all the tank filled with fuel. That was a very long stop for Tony Kanaan.
Vasser, Kanaan stops. Also Richie Hearn's 99 car in the pits. The 54 car of Shinji Nakano makes a stop. Vitor Mira's 22 car in and out of the pits. But Thomas Scheckter now has the lead. Castroneves is second, and rookie Tony Renna is third. And the yellow comes out. Robbie Buell. I'm looking for damage, and I don't see any, Scott.
No, I don't see any either, Paul. And
that's on the exit from the pits.
Yeah, possibility that we might actually have a bit of a spin out coming out of the pits, but hopefully we'll have a replay and pick this up.
See the Chevy pace car there. Johnny Rutherford has the wheel of it.
This was a great break for Thomas Scheckter, who has just taken over the lead of the race because he was scheduled to come in 3 laps. So this is a big break for Scheckter, who was just about to have to make a green light stop.
There's Scheckter, now the leader of the race with Helio Castroneves in second, Renna third.
At the Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven. Now, when Michael Andretti and Tony Kanaan pitted, there was a battle for the lead, and this is how Thomas Scheckter got it from Helio Castroneves. Castroneves, of course, the pole sitter in the race, but coming off turn number 4, Scheckter got a tremendous run off that corner, drafted for a while, cut to the inside and past Castroneves as they headed for turn number 1. And so Scheckter at the moment is the leader with Castroneves in second position, followed by de Ferran. And these are our Firestone lap leaders so far, with Michael Andretti having led the most at 18, with Castroneves just behind and Dixon just one short of the Castroneves total. Now, the pits have been closed up to now. They will be open here, and we definitely expect pit stops by Scheckter and Castroneves and several others. The field now in turn number 3 as the huge crowd assembled here at Indianapolis once again this year looks on under caution for the 3rd time this afternoon. Our first caution was brought out by Billy Boat, who had an engine problem. Then we had Sarah Fisher into the wall. She's okay. And Robbie Buell was the reason for our most recent caution. He spun coming out of the pits. All right, now the field is in turn number 4, and the pits are open, and so those running up front will be moving to the left and entering pit road off the corner. Here they come. Several will come down pit road while others remain behind the pace car. Scheckter, Castroneves, de Ferran have all decided to come in.
Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. All the way down. Just keep coming down.
Marlboro Team Penske pitted at the very end of the line down there toward the bottom of your screen. Pit out.
Thomas Scheckter was leading this race last year when he crashed, and the car is good again. No changes, just 4 Firestones and fuel.
No changes for Gil de Ferran either, and at the top of your screen, ditto for his teammate Helio Castroneves. Thomas Scheckter gets away, and he splits the Marlboro Team Penske cars.
So Castroneves gets out first, with Scheckter between him and his teammate Gil de Ferran. There's Scheckter, there's de Ferran, and it looks like that Kenny Breck has a problem on pit road. The crew has come to his assistance as they push the car back. Kenny Breck has had all kinds of problems since the drop of the green flag. Breck started way up on the outside of row number 2 in 6th position.
Within the second, we're going to go. Push him back.
Team owner Bobby Rahal looks on, trying to restart the car, and they get it refired, and Breck will go back out into the race. Down to Jerry.
Well, aside from a bruise in the left foot, physically Sarah Fisher is okay, but emotionally, Sarah, there were very high expectations today. What happened?
Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, when you're turning into a corner and the motor just lets go, you know, there's not much you can do. You can clutch it, whatever, but it's really not going to help you. I mean, Chevy's been doing a great job for us, and they're trying hard. They got some good things coming, so we're going to believe in them and stick with it.
Another tough day here for the 2-time most popular driver. Bob?
The 87th running of the Indy 500 presented by 7-Eleven will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
You're watching the Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven on ABC Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Green flag is out. The 87th running of the Indy 500.
60 laps about to be completed here at the Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven. Now Michael Andretti, who is off pit sequence, is now the leader of the race. Helio Castroneves second, followed by Scheckter, de Ferran, and Tora Takagi running in 5th position. Michael Andretti from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, is in his last Indianapolis 500, and he has signed a lot of autographs here this weekend. On Community Day, he was one of the drivers who spent a lot of time with the race fans, and he's not too bad a golfer either, and I'm sure he'll be getting in some golfing as he turns his attention from the driving to the business aspect of the sport after today's Indianapolis 500. Well, starting tonight, Emmy Award-winning series The Practice moves back to Sundays at 10, 9 Central, so don't miss The Practice tonight at 10, 9 Central here on ABC. All right, we are about to go back to green flag racing and ready at the front of the field, Paul.
With 60 laps complete, there's your restart order. Shinji Nakano's actually sitting between first and second place.
Well, Michael Andretti has to go into fuel conservation. They've had the discussion. They've told him, Michael, find a couple of cars to get behind and try and save fuel.
Pace picks up. Michael Andretti leads the field. By the way, Robbie Buell did get restarted and is racing again. Castro Neves is the second place car, but De Ferran goes side by side trying to get Scheckter.
Great time to pass, Paul. This is when everybody's bunched up together. All the drivers love the restarts. If the car's working, it's a great opportunity to get past a couple of guys that might be in front of you.
And a yellow comes out again, and this is a pretty good hit with the wall. A couple of cars. That's Jacques Lazier. And the report is that that's Hearn. Very difficult to tell from behind. Yeah. Richie, boy, he struggled just trying to get a ride here. And Lazier, the safety crew, is right there with him, looking underneath to make sure there's no fire. So two cars getting into the wall off of turn 2.
And Paul, as we watch the replay run, you can see as you get through the turn that he's already high in the gray area. Now watch, he's on the outside. He's up in that gray area. There's no grip up there. You have to be in that black area where the rubber is. Looks like Jacques Lazier turns around, ends up just locking up the brakes, trying to miss the accident that's in front of him.
And he scared the daylights out of Jacques Lazier, who just jumped all over the brakes. And as a result, he spun. Let's go down. Jerry Punch is now with Shigeaki Hattori.
And Paul, the third driver to come back here in the garage area. Shiggy, what put you out?
Well, beginning of 5 laps, car was good. Then I don't know why after 10 laps and like I feel same as out of gas, and then we changed filter everything, but we couldn't fix. Could be we had fuel pump problem.
Fuel pressure, can you get back out? Can they fix it?
No, you know, still fuel pressure went down, so we couldn't do nothing.
Okay, Shiggy's out of it here. Bob Jenkins, and the good news out on the track, we're told, is both drivers are out of those cars.
Indeed, Richie Hearn and Jacques Lazier have both exited their cars. 24 cars are on the lead lap. 62 completed at the Indy 500 presented by 7-Eleven.
The Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven on ABC Sports. Brought to you by 7-Eleven. When it comes to fresh, 7-Eleven has it made. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Delphi, driving tomorrow's technology. Mazda, there's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. And Argent Mortgage Company, a real leader with real service. Experience lending at the speed of Argent.
It's Memorial Day weekend, and that means the 87th running of the Indianapolis 500. And we are 64 laps into this race. Scott Goodyear has a new gadget, and he's going to lead us through this most recent caution, a crash involving Richie Hearn and Jacques Lazier.
Well, Bob, actually this new little gadget we have is actually great. We're going to watch what happens here as they're going through turn 2. And as I stop it, I want you to have a look to see where Richie Hearn's car is. It's up here, actually in this gray area that we see, and that's where he's going to be headed. So you watch as this happens now. Up in that gray area again, going towards the wall. He's way over here, and what ends up happening now as we move along is that he's going to end up clipping the wall. And we see Jacques Lazier ready to take the track, sees what's happening in front of him, and just gets on the brake, flat spots the tires, and both these guys seem like they're out of the race.
And again, both drivers were quickly out of their cars and appear to be okay. Richie Hearn and Jacques Lazier involved in the most recent incident here at the 500. It's Michael Andretti leading the way. Helio Castro Neves is lined up there in second spot. And then Scheckter is running in third spot. 65 laps into the Indianapolis 500. We have had 5 leaders and 5 lead changes so far, with Michael Andretti having led the most laps so far. We have had 4 caution flags during this period, reducing the average speed to 139.361 miles an hour. Castro Neves, Dixon, Scheckter, and Kanaan have been the leaders so far, and it would appear as if we are set to go back to competition. We'll see if Michael Andretti can continue to hang on to that lead, but he's got the guy that's going for the three-peat right behind him, Paul.
Yeah, there is the battle. Both of them want it desperately. All 33 that started want it desperately. But it's Andretti, Castroneves battling at the front. Andretti picks up the pace. We're green flag again. Castroneves in pursuit. Thomas Scheckter third. 4th is De Ferran. 5th is Takagi. De Ferran on the move. Castroneves on the move. Michael says no.
Now watch what's going to happen right now. Castroneves got slowed up in turn 1 when he's trying to make the move. Thomas Schecter's going to get the draft, and a good draft, and he's going to go and just challenge Castroneves going into 3.
Scheckter going to run Castroneves down to the inside of 3. He takes over second. De Ferran closes now at the back end of Castroneves. Takagi is right behind De Ferran. That group pulls away for the remainder of the field. Andretti. Will he win his last Indy 500? Log on now to ESPN.com and play along with today's race on Enhanced TV, presented by Miller High Life.
Paul, you mentioned Tora Takagi, who's now currently running in 5th place. What a great job he's done all month. He's been fast. He really looks like he's been focused. And I don't think we can count him out of today's race, even though he doesn't have that much experience.
There's the last lap speed. It's come a little bit off.
Michael was wiggling his car there. It looked like a fuel pressure problem going into 1. Whenever you actually wiggle your car, it looks like the motor is maybe starving for fuel. That was very weird.
All right, just settle into a nice pace now. Just settle into a nice pace. 10-4, 10-4.
Chip Ganassi to Thomas Scheckter. Michael Andretti has some sort of issue. Castroneves goes to second. It's only been 18 laps since his last stop. He should have plenty of fuel.
And Paul, remember, this is by design. They're trying to extend their fuel window. They discussed this during the caution and said that what they wanted to do is Michael find a comfortable place, let somebody else lead for a while, and try and save valuable methanol.
That is absolutely amazing. It's one thing to slow down a little, but not like that.
Well, Paul, maybe that's the owner of the team actually doing some thinking inside the helmet instead of the driver. Because I can tell you from past experiences as a driver, it's very hard to take your foot off the gas, especially at the Indianapolis 500, and let somebody get into the lead.
Well, and then there is that wiggle. You got to wonder what was going on there.
Well, that was very evident. So maybe he was just trying to put a little message to everybody else behind him. Or we'll have to wait to see what's going on. He's a master of disguise sometimes, Michael is.
Conversation going out to Scott Sharp, currently 7th. You were on board with him a moment ago. Toyota's run first and second. Honda is third. Sam Hornish has the highest place Chevrolet back at 14th right now.
As these guys are settled into a pace, what they're going to be looking for is some cues on the other guy's car. Where's his strong point? Where's his weak point? They're going to put that in the back of their mind, so when they get closer to the end of the race, maybe they can go back and recall maybe turn 3 is a weak spot for Castroneves, for instance. You have to put all that in the back of your mind to get ready for that last 10-lap shootout.
De Ferran now working Andretti. The fight is for third. That's Sharp at the end of that group, currently 7th. Tora Takagi sits 5th. Jack Arute, you've been watching him.
And Paul, we asked Tora Takagi if this was the biggest race that he has run in his short Indy racing career. He said no. The most pressure he felt, the biggest race, not the Indianapolis 500, the recently completed race in Motegi, Japan, in front of all of his faithful.
Oh, yeah, he's immensely popular. But Takarut, what about when he walked out for the photograph?
Well, he walked out to see the photograph of how they start this race, 3 abreast in 11 rows. And he said through his interpreter, "You mean it's 3 and not 2 side by side?"
Yep, only race in the season that they start 3 wide. Keeping track of our stories inside line. Voigt the Fourth's got himself some problems.
Not very much experience here. Just turns 19 years old today. Certainly has a lot of experience within the team. The champion of the Infinity Pro Series last year. It would have been neat if he had the opportunity to run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the Infinity Pro Series cars did just last week to get some experience here. But so much history for the Voigt family. What a great job he has done so far today.
Well, and remember, guys, he had problems from the very beginning with a faulty radio earpiece, as you see the little owl in the pits right now. But Anthony Voigt has been struggling from the get-go. His spotter couldn't relay information to him, and at one point, AJ came onto the radio and told Anthony, "You've got to get faster or they're going to run over you." Not good when you're hearing that in the earpiece from Grandpa.
Remember Richie Hearn involved in that incident. Jerry Punch, how is he?
Well, Paul, he's okay physically. Richie, we saw your car move up across the racetrack. Did something break on the car?
No, I think Dari just kind of dove down on me at the last minute going into 2, and I just basically got up in the gray, and I couldn't recover from it. I just kind of slid up the wall, and that was it.
Paul, it had been a dream month for Richie Hearn, getting a car leased from the legendary Roger Penske.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It was neat watching that car roll back and forth across Gasoline Alley. Richie Hearn's garage was right across from the Penske garage. And of course, the Penske guys were doing a lot of work on it. In fact, they were the team that actually helped qualify the car, but then they had to go back to Penske service, and Richie had to come up with his own guys to service the car during the race.
And Paul, remember when Roger Penske loaned them that car, it was a payback for an accident involving Richie Hearn when he broke his foot in a crash with Gil de Ferran last year. Somebody from Richie's crew went and put a bucket of broken parts at the motor coach of Roger Penske. Roger never forgot it. Today was payback. And guess what? Sam Schmidt and the crew have got another bundle of broken parts.
As we ride along here, we're looking at the engine cowling right now. It seems like this engine cowling that we have right there might be just sitting there hovering, Paul. It looks like it could be loose. It looks like it's actually up a little higher than it needs to be.
Yeah, it looks higher on the left side. Now the tough decision for race control is it bad enough to call him in for? Remember, that's a carbon fiber part. It's pretty light, but you still don't want it coming loose and flying through the air.
Well,
Thomas Scheckter is the leader after all.
Actually, Paul, we're going to have a good look at this thing right now because I would say we're seeing a bit of a space in the cowling itself.
Thomas Scheckter, that incredible run last year, win at Michigan. He is fast. Now driving for Target Chip Ganassi. What do you think, Scott?
Well, we're looking on top right now, but I thought I saw possibly from a side profile on the inside over in this area here that we might be seeing a bit of a space. And exactly, it's actually looking like it's lifting up just behind the driver's head. There's a bit of a dark spot right there.
Yeah, oh yeah,
right
absolutely.
beside the driver's head. So I want you just to watch as we go along right here. I'm going to give you a circle right through that area there. And you can actually see a black shadow, and that's probably just where the cowling is lifting up itself. Now, those are held in by what they call Zeus fasteners. Small little screws. They're actually of aircraft quality, and usually tape goes over those so they don't come unfastened. But that's a price you pay, because if the tape is on there, it takes longer to get those things undone if you do indeed have a problem.
Your race control, you're going to leave it alone?
Well, right now, one side is fixed. The other side is getting a gap on it. You know, right now, they're going to be watching exactly what we're seeing right now. Two things are going to happen. If he loses that cowling, the aerodynamics will be disturbed going to the back of the wing. possibly putting him in jeopardy. And if something happens and he ends up getting it on the racetrack in front of somebody else, it could be just a huge problem for the guys behind him.
And they could fix it on a pit stop, assuming that it's just Zeus fasteners that have come loose. Now, if they've pulled out of the carbon, then they're probably going to have to change the whole cowling, and that only assumes that the top side of the fitting is not gone. If the bottom side's gone, now we got some serious problems. You have to tape it on.
Well, that's what they'll do. They'll just come in and put some 200-mile-an-hour race tape. He went so yellow right now, Paul. He just does not want to be the yellow.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, the hospital again.
Well, Jacques Lazier has walked out and he's okay. And the good news is that they're going to try to fix this car, Jacques. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. One of those classic racing deals. I saw Richie Hearn looked like he got a little bit chopped off and went up into the marbles. When that happened, everybody right behind him checked up really big, and I had a kind of a good run coming out of turn 2 on Vitor and a couple other guys, and I was just going to try to get a few of them on the restart and just kind of get back into our pace. And when they checked up, I had to get on the brakes really hard. It was enough to mid-corner just to spin the car out, and tried to keep it off the wall. Just kind of spun back and hit the wall, the inside retaining wall. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad because everybody, John's Manville team and I, they've been working really hard this month, and we had a good race going. It felt like the car was coming to us, so we'll see if we can't get it back out there.
Well, Paul, they're going to try to.
Leader's now overhauling Foyt the fourth, putting him another lap down. You saw Schechter go by. Castroneves just got past. Michael Andretti is the next to come up behind him, and you're right on board with him.
See the speed difference in the turns. A.J. Foyt the fourth, not got that much speed in the middle of turns. That's where Andretti gets the speed, and watch what's happening here right now. A little bit of traffic, and you pay the price.
De Ferran right on top of that one. De Ferran moves around. So now Schechter, Castroneves, the top two, and look at him go 3 wide with Scott Sharp.
Oh, it's only 50 feet wide here. You can't put 3 cars in one spot.
That's Dan Weldon that squirted ahead there. Foyt the fourth in front. He's trying to give room to Sharp.
He's just off the pace, Paul, and right now he's a little bit like a moving chicane in a sense, and you just hate like something like that to happen. He ends up getting a bit of a draft. Sharp does, and ends up drafting past him.
Outside, clear. Nice job.
Sharp's got him clean now, and 4 recognizes clearly there's a bunch of fast guys coming down the inside. Back at the front, Thomas Schechter is the leader. Castroneves now second. You saw De Ferran move to third, and that's how they're separated on the 2.5 miles of Indy. Listen to this. This is the voice of Brian Barnhart, who runs race control.
Okay, I need a 14 to pick up the pace or he doesn't stay out there. 197 that lap. I need more speed out of the 14, guys.
So Brian Barnhart saying what his grandfather said too. Foyt the fourth, you got to get moving. Leader is Schechter, Castroneves, De Ferran, second and third. Andretti now fourth, due for a stop almost any time now. Couple cars already on the pit road. Scott Dixon is in. Dixon's been struggling.
They continue to work on Scott Dixon's car, but no major changes. 9.4 seconds. This is the longest part of the race, Scott Goodyear.
Absolutely is. What ends up happening now, this is really called the middle of the day when these guys are really trying to figure out what their car is doing. They're out there trying to run fast speeds. We're seeing 224 to Schechter, 224 to Castroneves right now. Focus is the most important part of this race right now, guys.
Tony Renna, Scott Sharp. They're back battling at 7th place. Rookie and a veteran. As we approach the halfway point, it is in many ways externally, if you're up in the stands, the time a lot of folks go down for a dog and a cold drink. Because it is in fact subtle, but so much goes on that sets the tone for the final laps of the race. Today's driver radio transmission are brought to you by 1010-987. Love to listen to those guys.
You heard him upshift there. You can hear the engine tone change. Goes from 5th up to 6th gear, down the straightaways, maybe downshifting for the turns. These engines run at 10,300 RPM. Downshifting off the throttle, back onto the gas.
Michael Andretti on the pit road, rolling toward Jack Arute.
Paul, they continue to discuss the need to conserve fuel. Why? Because you want to be in the right scenario if this thing goes to green at about lap 170 to the end. Michael Andretti has practiced during this entire segment on how best to conserve fuel. Now we're checking to see if they're getting the full load of fuel. They've got to connect it very well. But boy, yet again, taking a long time to get it in. And you could hear in 12.6 seconds, you could hear the impatience from Michael as he continued to rev that engine.
Taking no chances, though. Going to get every drop in.
And, Jack, we need to check with those guys because it looked like they did a rear wing adjustment during that pit stop. It looked like they took out one of those rear gurney flaps, so maybe he's trying to change the balance and the handling on his car.
You know, I got to tell you, because I'm going to have to face Bobby Unser for this. You're calling it a gurney flap. Jack has, as you ride with Scheckter, the leader. Bobby Unser won't call it that. He calls it a wicker bill and claims that he invented it. You want to know more about it? It's got a new book, Winners Are Driven.
I think Dan Gurney might be the one that invented it. I'll call it a gurney flap.
Okay.
Well,
oh, what's this? Slow down out of the line for Robbie McGee.
He's going real slow. Looks like he may be not on power. We're going to see a yellow come out here very shortly unless he can get right to pit lane.
Scheckter just puts a lap on Buddy Rice. We really hope for more out of that machine. Rice's machine, Chevrolet powered. Jack Arute?
Well, Scott, I can answer your question. They did make a gurney flap change on the back of the rear wing. They're just, if you want to know what they look like, go to your local hardware store and get some of the angle molding that you would put in the corners of your house, except this isn't made out of wood. It's made out of carbon fiber.
Nice little piece. Probably that little piece itself, probably worth about $300 or $400. So those guys will just put it on the shelf. If he needs it later to their next pit stop, that's when they'll put it back in.
Michael Andretti moving way over on the front stretch.
Boy, I don't know.
What's going on there? He lost a lap on the stop, dropped to 20th. And now the report from spotters around the course is the engine sounding sour. Oh, man, look at this.
See, he's moving his hand, looking at the dash right there that he has. All the information for his engine is right there on his steering wheel. And as he's going along the straightaway, he can see all the information. That right there that he's turning, right as you saw that knob, he's actually turning the fuel trim. He's searching right now. He's trying to cure the problem.
And they have called for Michael Andretti to pit on this lap. But Thomas Scheckter has pulled on the pit road.
Thomas Scheckter into the pit.
Now, they're trying to effect a change. They put some 200-mile-an-hour tape on that rear cowling. That's been the fuel man's job. It's only one, maybe 8-inch piece. I don't know, Paul. We'll have to watch.
So they got the repair done on Scheckter. Michael Andretti and Tony Kanaan both come in. Andretti expected Kanaan. Surprise. Now they're working on the back of Kanaan's car, and Michael's car, I mean.
They've got the bonnet, Paul, off, and they are taking a look at the engine. The Honda engine is turned off.
Guys, I can tell you what this feels like. And when I've had this happen in the past at the Indy 500, it was not even my last race. You can only imagine what is going on in Michael's mind right now. The Andretti luck has happened again for Michael Andretti.
Michael stays in the car. Dan Weldon, another teammate in the Andretti Green stable, who's been running a very nice little race. They try to restart Michael. Oscar Neves is our leader, first time today. Mario, the 69 winner, who's had so much bad luck that Michael seems to have inherited.
And Paul, they just radioed with Michael Andretti. The worst words that you want to hear on your retirement day, that's it. He's getting out of the car for the last time. Michael Andretti will end his career winless at the Indianapolis 500.
At least in his last race, he led for 28 laps. And it's the 6th DNF for Andretti in 14 Indy 500s.
Gil de Ferran in to get served. Holding his left arm up to hold Gil as he eyes him. Everything appears to be routine. Pass stopped and Ferran gone. Castro Neves will be next.
Helio Castroneves on the pit road from the lead. Approaching the halfway point. 250 laps coming. 250 miles.
Well, we're expecting a half turn on the front wing is the only aero change. The routine of tires and fuel for Helio, trying to make it 3 in a row. The first ever to do it at Indy. They're holding, fielding's complete. Flawless stop by Team Penske.
Alex Barron comes into the pits. Well, inherited second for a moment. Remember, a winner out of the Indy Racing League last year. Barron getting a last-minute ride when Ari Luyendyk got involved in an accident during the qualifying and decided he wasn't injured, but he said, no, that's it.
Well, Paul, actually, I spoke to Ari just last night, and he said, you know, I did make the right decision. I still have headaches. I still sleep a lot. And he says, my back is sore. He said, I would not have made this event. I would not have made 500 miles.
The sight thousands of fans did not want to see. Michael Andretti's car going behind the wall. At the halfway point, Jimmy Vasser picks up the lead in the 19 car.
Michael Andretti, the last time we're going to have this conversation, what do you feel right here, right now?
I don't know. Really disappointed, but hey, you know, it wasn't meant to be. It's a shame because the 7-Eleven car was running very good. We were running right up at the top all day, and we had a shot at winning it, a legitimate shot. So at least I can say I had a good shot at winning my last race.
Now you turn your gears and you become a hero. You still have some solid cars in the field. You begin to call some of the shots, or what?
I'm not going to call any shots, but I'm definitely, the first thing I did was look up the scoreboard and see where they're at. So I got to start cheering.
Paul, he may not win it as a driver, but he'd like to win it now as a car owner.
Jimmy Vasser out of the lead into the pits. Michael Andretti in his career led 426 laps at Indy without a win.
You think of all the pressure on Michael this month as a team owner with all his sponsors, as a driver, sitting inside the cockpit, having to do all the jobs that he's done this month. The speed, the focus has been amazing.
Scheckter picks up the lead. And we now have 102 laps in the record book. It is an official race, regardless of anything that would happen like rain, and that's not at all expected. So Thomas Scheckter back in front.
And Paul, we know that they repaired the back bonnet, as we call it, the engine cover with some 200-mile-an-hour race tape. Problem is he's doing about 224 miles an hour, and I can actually see some tape starting to flap right up in the top by the airbox. So what's happening right now is that he's going to have to be very cautious that that does not come apart on him.
Well, Scott, part of the problem was the fact that they didn't affect the change the way they wanted. They had several pieces of tape pulled off about 8 inches in length.
Yellow.
They were only able to get one on.
Yellow is out. This we very possibly help Scheckter. They may be able to get that repaired. They should run the tape right down the entire separation there. They went yellow because of this. This is Jimmy Vasser's car, and it started smoking. And race control will not take a chance. You remember last year, Tony Kanaan might have won the race, but Bruno Junqueira had an engine go right in front of him. They didn't go yellow, and then Tony Kanaan got in the oil and went right to the wall. So they're being very careful about this. Jimmy Vasser pulls on the pit road. Firestone lap leaders now after 103 laps. Scheckter's led the most and goes back to the lead. after this situation. So the yellow is on again, 5th time of the day. Again, because of Jimmy Vasser, this guy, the 10 Target Chip Ganassi car of Thomas Scheckter, is the leader of the race, but Castroneves is right behind him. Castroneves' teammate Gil de Ferran sits in 3rd. Takagi is 4th. Tonight at 10:30 Eastern, get a recap of all of the day's auto racing news and headlines from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on RPM tonight. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. The crew is ready for Thomas Scheckter. He should be in the pits just as soon as they're ready to go. Dave Higuera, the crew chief. They're set, they're drilled. They have 3 races under their belt with Thomas already this year. He makes the switch over to Target Chip Ganassi.
And Paul, he's got a pretty good race talker on the radio for him. Chip Ganassi, who ran this race and now owns this team, is the one who calls the 500 for Thomas Scheckter. Scheckter says the difference this season versus last season, much calmer in the cockpit. And we've noticed it in the radio transmissions as well. Now, I'm not sure if it's because of this man, Chip Ganassi, or maybe just a little bit of 500 maturity.
The man from Pittsburgh, Chip Ganassi. Now, this will be a stop primarily to repair the cowling. But anytime you stop, you're going to refuel the car.
Absolutely. Now, he takes the advantage, if he does come in the pits, to actually take the time underneath yellow, because there's not the fast pace that's happening on the racetrack.
But he didn't come in.
Repair that problem. Now, what we're looking at right here, as we drive along, you can see that split going right down between the car and the engine cowling, a little bit of tape flopping off of there, and that's what they're trying to repair. Obviously, those connectors have actually not been able to do the job.
Let's go down to Vince Welch with Jimmy Vasser out of the race.
Very disappointed, Jimmy Vasser. Ultimately, what was it, Jimmy?
I guess it's the gearbox. The gearbox was working beautifully all day long, and then it just popped out of 5th gear right in the middle of the run. And they were telling me Kenny had a problem in 1st, so I've been, you know, it was working fine for me, and there's a hole this big in the gearbox.
30th last year and disappointed again in 2003, Jimmy Vasser.
Drives for the Ray Hall Letterman. Dave Letterman from Indianapolis. Just wanted to do anything he could to get involved with racing. Loves racing.
Paul, you're going to love this. Classic Chip Ganassi.
I'm
he had
ready.
the pits all laid out. He even went on the radio and in code called in Thomas Scheckter. But on another channel, he let Thomas know that he was just throwing a dummy to the field.
When we come back, I want to tell you a little bit about some of the radio networks here. The 87th running of the Indy 500 presented by 7-Eleven will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
Sports.
Under yellow for the 5th time here at the Indianapolis 500, presented by 7-Eleven, because Jimmy Vasser's car lost a gearbox and there was a considerable amount of smoke from the car. Well, while we have the opportunity, put on your thinking caps and tell us in our in-phone trivia question, what is the fastest official lap ever turned here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't turned this year or last year or the year before that. We will give you the answer in a few moments. Meanwhile, the cars are still under yellow here. Pace car is leading them down the backstretch. Thomas Scheckter is the leader of the race, followed by the 2 Marlboro Team Penske drivers, Elio Castroneves and de Ferran. We understand that a car spun. Breck spun, and we'll take a look at it. This is turn 4 as, yeah, Kenny just looked like lost control momentarily, spun, but did not hit anything, and so he lines up for the restart. Sunday this fall, the rookies about to meet the man who will make him a cop. Danny Nucci and Ernie Hudson. 10-8, a new series coming Sunday this fall to ABC. Here's a look at our AT&T wireless race analysis so far as we have reached 107 laps. Thomas Scheckter now has led more laps than any other driver. Michael Andretti is the driver who has led the second highest number of laps, 28. But just before the halfway point, Michael Andretti dropped out of competition. And so his final Indianapolis 500 has ended. The green flag averaged 219 miles an hour, but the 5 caution flags have reduced the overall speed. As Scheckter leads Castroneves, De Ferran, Takagi, and Weldon down the backstretch, we get set for the restart. Paul Page and Scott Goodyear.
Yeah, and thinking about the problem that Kenny Breck had, Scott, remember he's missing at least the first, maybe first and second. Did he try to get too much power down?
Well, he could have. The back end certainly went around him in turn 4, and we don't know if there's something going on with the gearbox. Maybe tried to select a gear and couldn't get a gear, or something got jammed, but had that problem before, Paul, and it just makes for a long day, especially at this racetrack.
On the restart order, you saw that Roger Yasukawa separates the 2 Penske cars. He's a lap down. It's Scheckter, Castroneves, De Ferran, top 3 in the race.
A busy time here. Turbulent air from the cars in front. Watch this. He's going to go on the outside.
Whoa, and Kanaan, boy, did he squeeze that one through. Nice job, Tony.
2 or 3 at a time. A great time to make a pass on the inside. Working on there right now. Watch this. Right underneath Buddy Rice.
Because he couldn't afford to get stuck back there. Tori Takagi is moving now to the inside. Staying in touch with the leaders. Now in 5th.
We talked about restarts, a great opportunity for pass, especially for people that are aggressive and have a lot of experience. It's when the cars are all gathered together, great opportunity for that.
Hornish starts out, trying to make a move. There's Robbie Buell back in the run. Remember, he had that spin on the pit exit. Didn't touch anything, got it back in the race on board with Scott Sharp. Speeds are incredible, 227 miles an hour. Schecter's fastest lap.
About 2 car leagues behind, buddy.
3 wide.
3
that
wide.
Works all the time.
Barron to the inside.
Sharp's got himself stuck in some traffic right now.
That's a football field, 100 yards. And at 200 plus miles an hour, it only takes a second to travel that distance. Look at that.
Probably those laps at 227, Paul, those guys are probably doing the length of a football field in about 7/10 of a second. It's amazing. Doesn't give you much room for when things go wrong in front of you.
That's fast.
Scott, I had an opportunity to talk to Tony Dungy of the Indianapolis Colts, who visited here on 2 occasions during the month of May to watch Scott Sharp dispatch with the 52 car. And he was amazed at the similarities between the game of football and the game, as he calls it, IndyCar racing. He said, I have become a huge fan, and I am never going to miss another Indy 500. He said, I'm just blown away by the teamwork, and also, he says, the driver's the QB, but boy, they've got some linemen here in racing.
Poor Buddy Rice, you've seen him now overhauled twice. Chevrolet Power running 18th. Very likable young guy. We really hope for more. He'd hope for more. Getting passed again.
It looks like he's either having a gearbox problem, not running the top gear, Paul. He just seems like he's a good 15, 20 miles an hour off the pace right now, and that will come to the eye of Brian Barnhart pretty soon here, I think, if he's actually going to be slowing up the pace.
You know, we really haven't had a chance to review the whole engine thing. Currently, Toyota has the top 3 spots. Tony Kanaan sitting in 4th with Honda is the top Honda, and Sam Hornish is the top Chevrolet, but he's at 13th. Chevrolet is looking for some sort of cure. They started the year, it appears to be about 30 horsepower down. They've been trying to make it back. They say there's good news coming. There's new parts in some of these engines, but they're still struggling to get the power.
And Paul, what ends up happening now is that all those GM engineers are hard at work. They say that possibly there could be a fix for the next race at Texas, but more so probably at Pikes Peak, which is after them.
With 114 laps complete, it's Thomas Scheckter out in front of the 2 Penske cars at Indy. Back at the Indianapolis 500, the 87th running, Thomas Schechter is the leader. But Helio Castroneves and Gil de Ferran both trying to break that one up. You remember the in-phone trivia question that we had? The fastest official lap ever at Indianapolis? Scott, you're the expert. What do you think?
Well, back in 1996, 237.5498 miles an hour. And actually, there was an unofficial lap by Ari of 239 average. That's about 248 miles an hour down the straightaway.
Ari owns the 1 lap, the 4 lap, and the race record. He's got them all. Helio Castroneves runs in second place. There he is. There comes Gil de Ferran. Kanon's in this fight 2 and 4th. First 4 right there all together. There they are.
Paul, Tim Cindric says we are right on target. They love the way the car has been balanced. They made a half turn on the wing on the last pit stop. It's come right to them. And right now, Cindric is telling Helio, pass him anytime you feel comfortable. But the key, he told Helio, don't lose momentum. Meanwhile, Gil de Ferran stalks his teammate, Roger Penske, telling him he's done a great job on fuel conservation. They're very happy at this stage of the race.
And Gary, Chip Ganassi just told Thomas Schechter he has 80 laps to go. Now, before the last pit stop, the car was a bit unstable, had a little bit of vibration when Thomas found himself out in clear air. They've made some changes, and all of a sudden, Thomas radioed in when queried that the car feels very stable out there. So he's going to stay on the point, Scott, at least for as long as he can. Vince?
Tora Takagi is currently running in 6th position, but his crew is asking for the Indy Racing League IndyCar officials to help him out with some of the slower traffic in front of him, because Takagi is fast and so is his teammate who's running in 7th, Alex Barron, but traffic in front of them not moving out of the way to the liking of the Mo Nunn team.
Now 15 cars, though, are running on the lead lap. And all the officials can generally do is give you the blue flag with the yellow diagonal, which just says the car is following you. It doesn't tell you to move over. Talking about the rookies, Dan Weldon, top of that group right now. Takagi's looking strong. He's right behind Weldon. Guys are putting on a pretty good show for rookies.
Oh, a great show. Tora Takagi might be the first Japanese driver to actually lead the Indianapolis 500, Paul, because no Japanese driver has ever done that so far.
What's going on behind the leader, Bob Jenkins?
Well, we've been watching in the last few minutes Greg Ray, who was the pole sitter here at the Indianapolis 500 in the year 2000. He started this race from 14th position, was running 11th until just a few moments ago when he was passed by Dixon, or I should say Sharp. But Greg Ray is just outside of the top 10 in 12th position. Now, his car is carrying the number 13. You don't see that very much in IndyCar racing. However, Greg Ray has done a great job here today in keeping that car up near the top 10.
Well, you haven't seen 13 on a car at Indianapolis since 1914. George Mason drove with 13 on it, finished 23rd.
Actually, many cars have actually tried in 13.
Battle here, battle. Look at that. And de Ferran says no.
He thinks more of it, but back to the 13, Paul. Many drivers have actually tried to qualify for the race with number 13, but none have ever made it. So Greg Ray has actually really done something special here. He had the guts to go off and try and use 13, and he's out there today. Running a little bit of traffic right now. You can hear Tony Kanaan off the throttle. A little bit of lap traffic in front of him. Makes the move right underneath McGee. Nice clean move. Robbie McGee gave him some space.
Put the clock on him at the line. Here comes Kanaan. Top 3 at the moment. But Weldon, oh, look at this, Takagi. Takagi is the quickest lap time around.
Now, what we're looking at there, folks, is the slower cars that you see are the ones that are leading, you might think, but they're actually involved in traffic sometimes. The drivers like Takagi that are in the back might have, or actually have an opportunity to get that draft.
There's Tora Takagi.
Well, that lap got the attention of all the people on the timing stand in Takagi's pit. They all poked their head up at once and looked at each other with a big smile on their face. The car is running very comfortably for Takagi ever since they made a stagger change early in the race on a pit stop.
Nickname it Tora. Of course, Japanese for Tiger. And he has been. Formula Nippon champion. Is incredibly popular in Japan. And of course, one race in the series is run in Japan at the Twin Ring Motegi. Also part of the reason that the battle... Oh! Sixth yellow of the day. Ayrton Dare. He's okay.
You see the steering wheel first get moved off and lays it on top, and then the cowling comes off that goes around his head. You saw him take that and just throw it against the wall. Takes away all the 6 straps that are holding onto him. Undoes his helmet, and he'll pop out of the car. Actually entering the turn, Paul, he is way high. It looked like something might have went wrong with the car because it didn't seem like there was any turning effort there whatsoever.
Turn 2 again. Fans are there getting quite an expensive show.
You know, he's up in that gray. You can see all the marbles right there on the track. And the marbles we talk about are pieces of rubber that come off from the tires. As the race progresses, the track gets a little bit more slick up there in the gray area. You definitely want to make sure that you actually stay right touch with the black section of the racetrack. That's where all the rubber is. And as he turned around and drove himself into that safer barrier.
Special barrier design here at Indianapolis. It is a pretty remarkable achievement. Some of the teams call it the soft wall. Everybody's laid out for stops under this yellow, and it's going to come perfectly for Thomas Scheckter. There's that safer barrier.
Well, actually, that barrier, Paul, is actually rectangular structural steel tubes that are stacked up vertically. Now, here you go. Now, see all the rubber that's all the way down there. And here we see the safer barrier as we were talking about, Paul, those rectangular structure steel tubes that are stacked and welded together. And actually they have some bundles of foam that we can see right there behind it that actually helps soften the blow when a car hits the wall.
It's a proven concept. I think you're going to see it in use a lot. So now most of the field should be heading for the pit road as the pits open up under this caution period. And be watching Castroneves, De Ferran, and Scheckter on the split as they come in. There's where they're located in the pits. Penske
no changes on Thomas Schecter's car. No changes on Thomas Schecter's car as Castroneves and De Ferran go to their pits.
There will be a half change of wing on De Ferran. No changes for Castroneves. Helio has got number 1 pit. Will he be the first lap? There's a wing change in De Ferran. Helio's gone. There goes Scheckter. There goes De Ferran. So Scheckter drops to second.
Penske performance pays off on the pit stop for Castroneves. Gives him what he couldn't get on the racetrack. It gives him the lead of the race. The 87th running of the Indy 500 presented by 7-Eleven will return after this message and a word from our ABC station. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven, and today's aerial coverage is provided by AOL Broadband. Scott Sharp is currently running in 8th position. Scott Goodyear.
Hey, Scott, number 8 position for the number 8 car, but we've heard you on the rev limiter a little bit there. Are you guys out of gear?
Scott, we're just trying to perfect the car, make the Delphi car better in traffic. We're certainly using the draft down the straightaways, but off the gas a little bit in the corners, so we're trying to just keep the revs up for the corners, but I have another gear to go to if I need to.
Well, good news to hear that. We wish you all the best, and as you know, the best part of the race is coming up.
Thanks.
Today's radio driver transmissions brought to you by 10-10-987. Wednesday, the special that changed the meaning of before and after returns. More on that in a moment. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
Sports.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 87th running of the Indy 500 presented by 7-Eleven. Wednesday, the special that changed the meaning of before and after returns. Hear stories of how their lives have changed. The original Extreme Makeover Wednesday at 10, 9 Central, here on ABC. We're under caution here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's been a very eventful day. We've had some crashes, but nothing serious. Let's take a look at what has happened so far in the 87th running of this race. Billy Boat, who started in 29th position, had a problem early on in the race as his car began to smoke badly. This was on the 8th circuit, and it was indeed the reason why we brought out the caution for the very first time. Big plume of smoke from that Billy Boat car. On lap number 15, Sarah Fisher lost an engine as she entered the turn. The car locked up. She was into the wall. Sarah was not injured. Lap number 51, and Thomas Scheckter pulled this incredible move on Helio Castroneves at the end of the front stretch to take the lead. Lap 162 now, and Jacques Lazier and Richie Hearn have problems. Hearn hits the wall. Lazier spins behind him and hits the inside retaining wall. Both drivers okay. On lap number 95, it all came to an end for Michael Andretti, who has now dropped out of his final Indianapolis 500-mile race. On the 107th circuit, Kenny Breck, under caution, was up in turn number 4, and for some reason the car spun on him. However, he did not hit anything and continues in the race. Lap 127 is a reason for our most recent caution. That is Ayrton Dare, who also got up high in turn 2, smacked the safer barrier. Ayrton is okay. And then this, Helio Castroneves going for the three-peat, beats Thomas Scheckter out of the pits, and so when we go back to green, it will be Castroneves leading Scheckter with de Ferran third, Kanaan fourth, and Tora Takagi running in 5th position. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Scott Goodyear, Paul Page, Vince Welch, Jerry Punch, Gary Gerald, and Jack Arute calling the action for you at the Indianapolis 500. So far, 6 different leaders during this race. Scheckter has led the most, 62. But he's not leading right now as Helio Castroneves is up front. We're set to go back to green, flag racing shortly. Paul?
With some very aggressive guys at the front. Castroneves, Scheckter, de Ferran, Kanaan, Takagi. There is the restart order. Kanaan is going to just fire it up as early as he can and try to get around Foyt the fourth and Yasukawa. Look at him. He's already sitting out there on the hip.
We're already
flag. And the rule is he can go as soon as it's green.
Absolutely. On the initial start, you must have to wait until the start and finish line, but on a restart, once the green's out, you can pass any time.
De Ferran and Scheckter go side by side. De Ferran takes him. Castroneves and de Ferran, the Penske cars, 1 and 2. Scheckter drops to 3rd.
Paul, interesting thing that these guys have done with de Ferran and Castroneves right now. Watch Kanaan getting a draft.
Kanaan goes for Scheckter, and he's got him. So Kanaan, in that short space, cleared the 2 back markers and then got Scheckter.
He's got the momentum on his side, and now he puts the Penske cars in sight right up ahead. Interesting point about the Penske cars started to say is that one is a Dallara chassis and one is a G-Force chassis. They came here with enough cars for both drivers. They both tested them throughout the month of May, and Gil de Ferran liked the G-Force, and Helio Castroneves wanted to stay in the Dallara. So you have 2 different manufacturer cars underneath the same team running 1-2 right now.
And you can actually tell the difference between the 2 chassis if you look at the air intake up above the driver's head.
Exactly. You can actually tell there's a triangle type one in the G-Force and an oval one, a round one, in the Dallara. Now there's different theories on the way they go about their aerodynamics and different theories that go away about their suspension. But interesting, they couldn't really find that much speed difference between the 2 chassis.
Top 3 right together.
And Paul, you may wonder what happened to Thomas Scheckter on that start. They have moved into fuel conservation mode. They would like to finish this race with just one more stop on pit road. A long animated discussion on how to accomplish that Gary Gerald, what they decided is just back off the lead pace because Chip Ganassi said, we're not going to win this thing until after the next stop.
And Jack, it's interesting for the Penske drivers, no fuel conservation mode. I talked to both Tim Cindric and Roger Penske, who command the Castroneves and de Ferran machines from the pits. Both said, we are good if this race goes green the rest of the way with just one more stop. Vince?
Tora Takagi and the Monin team continues to run in the top 5. This was the plan, just stay within reach of the leaders. Remember, the race is the last 50 laps, and Takagi is getting to the last 50. Then they'll turn him loose and hope that he can win the Indianapolis 500.
You have to figure that Tora Takagi has the most powerful of the Chevrolets. He tends to be favored on drivers. You're on board Kanaan as he starts to hunt for the lead. But Schechter's right behind him. So's Takagi. You see them both there. Scott Dixon has made up considerable distance and is now running in 6th place.
Now watch Takagi. He's sitting back there. Schechter got a little bit of a problem with the traffic, and he makes a... Oh, no! It's maybe 1 year experience with Schechter versus no experience for Takagi right now.
But his crew is disappointed that he didn't close the door on that pass.
Heck, they're disappointed. They like to be Tora. He just didn't have the energy to move into the corner. I'm surprised.
Well, sometimes it's a little bit of confidence. Remember, we're just on a restart now. Maybe he's not liking the way his car is handling, so you might go to some of those cockpit aids inside, the weight jacker and the roll bar adjustments to try and maybe make the car work just a little bit better for him.
Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Paul, 6 yellow today came up when Ayrton Dare hit the wall in turn 2. Ayrton, what happened up there?
Seems like when we put the last set of tires, the car wasn't performing as good as it was before. We lost some grip. And I was just trying to get out of the way for the leaders, you know, and then suddenly I move up a little bit. One guy went by, and then a group of cars went by, and I didn't have no room to come back to my racing line, and I ended up on the marbles, and then just lost a lot of grip and just went straight to the wall.
Frustrating day for the young Brazilian. Bob?
Castroneves, de Ferran, Kanaan, Schechter, Tora Takagi, Scott Dixon. Dixon is the leading rookie, but he's got Tony Renner right behind him, another rookie in the race. We were talking earlier about the radio communication. Jack showed you the pad communicator that Ganassi is using. And besides the one frequency that everybody's accustomed to between the pits and the car, and in fact everybody in the grandstand seems has a scanner and can listen to, now they're using multiple channels to the car. And moreover, there are other channels that the teams use, like among themselves, between the teams on different cars, back to the garage area in case they need parts. Little radio networks for everybody.
And Paul, all those radio networks have left us out on pit road with numb fingers as we try to scan back and forth. But it's part of the game, the sight game, that takes place at every race. You try and work with some signals, some code words, because when you're dealing with just tenths of a second, if you can have somebody get thrown a dummy like we saw Chip Ganassi throw, hey, it's worth it.
And sometimes they even favor that good old-fashioned pit board. They'll tell them one thing on the radio and give them a number on the pit board that tells them something entirely different. Since the restart after that 6th yellow of the race, guys on the move. Well, somebody lit a fire under Foyt the Fourth. He's moving. De Ferran and Kanaan, of course. You saw those moves. Saturday night, the Stanley Cup Finals return to ABC. Great goaltenders lead the way as New Jersey takes on Anaheim. Devils, Mighty Ducks, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, presented by Nextel, is Saturday night, 8 Eastern, right here on ABC. Championship Television.
Look at this pace that they're doing right now, 223.6, 223.8 miles an hour. These guys are just flying around this racetrack, knocking off some laps. Now, what these guys are thinking about, Paul, is that I've probably got one more stop to make one final adjustment on the race car to get it as best as it can be for the shootout that's going to come at the end. Now look how close all these guys are together. If we get a green stop, these guys will have a lot of pressure on them to get in and out of the pits as quickly as possible, have no mistake in their pit box, and get out and get back up to speed. If it's under yellow, then they got them all coming in at the same time, and that's when anything can happen down pit lane.
Tail end of the leader lap is the 27 car of Robbie Gordon, who started on the outside of the front row. Bob Jenkins, what's up with him?
Well, Robbie Gordon is not having the day that he had hoped for. We all know how he must, after this race, get on the helicopter and then fly to Charlotte, North Carolina for the NASCAR Winston Cup race tonight at Lowe's Motor Speedway. We always wonder what would happen if the guy doing that double duty would win here in Indianapolis. Would he stay around for the official photos, or would he bolt from the racetrack and go to Charlotte? Well, let's not count Robbie Gordon out, but right now he is indeed the final car on the lead lap, running in 14th position, about 14.5 seconds back. So it would appear at this point, at least, that we won't have to worry about that problem. Robbie Gordon doing double duty here today.
Yeah, but let's think about that. We're only in the 146th, or we are in the 146th lap, and Robbie is only 14 seconds behind the leader of the race.
Anything can happen, Paul. He can get in. Maybe a set of tires will make the difference. Maybe some adjustments in the pits. And if it's a yellow stop, everybody's bunched together. You can't count them out right now. If you're on the lead lap, there's no doubt you still have the possibility of winning this race. You just look at the speeds that all these guys are running, all in that 223, 224 range still. Watching Sam Hornish last time by, who's running in 10th, 223 miles an hour for him also.
So at the Indy 500, Penske cars 1 and 2. Team owner Tom Kelly is figuring strategy in Sharp's pit.
Anything goes green to the end, it's going to be one more stop.
Yeah, but we got to make sure we do it in one more stop. That's the thing.
Where are we at?
We're thinking, depending on how this thing plays out, we're looking at like around 165. So that's where it's going to
give us 35 to go to the end.
Yeah.
Is that an optimist?
Well, I think it is. It really depends on what you look at and what fuel mileage you're having, and a couple of yellows might help you along with that. But, you know, there's a lot of engineers with every team, and that's a data acquisition engineer right there that's looking at all those numbers. So that's what they're hoping for.
Recorded that back on the 127th lap. We're now on the 151st. Still Catherine Evans, De Ferran, Kanaan, Scheckter, Takagi. Now, what about the whole fuel strategy with a quarter of the race to go? We start with Gary Gerould.
Well, absolutely no change from Roger Penske, who's with De Ferran, or Tim Cindric, who is with Helio Castroneves. The Penske drivers are running 1 and 2. Both of these men insist that they are good to go if this race is green until the checkered flag with one more stop. That stop we're projecting would be somewhere around lap 165. Jack?
Gary, that's exactly what we're hearing from third place man Tony Kanaan and his team as well. But they're being a little more mum as to when they will actually pit. In fact, when I asked them, they said, we can't tell you right now, but we will tell you we are only going to make one more stop. Vince?
Well, and Tora Takagi has one stop to make as well, and he is currently running 5th. And like the Castroneves and De Ferran teams, you'll also see Takagi coming in on lap 165. Could be a busy pit lane 13 laps from now.
Of all the guys on the leader lap, Dan Weldon, who is currently 12, should be in the pits 3 to 4 laps before the rest of the group, so he'll end up on a different strategy. What about Schecter's pit strategy, Jack?
Well, you've got Chip Ganassi making the calls there, and Ganassi had told Scheckter to conserve fuel all during this run. They want to pit with about 38 laps left to go in the race. As Chip Ganassi keeps telling his driver, that's when we will go racing.
There's Scheckter, currently 4th. We want to go back. Scott Sharp is 9th. There he is. And there's the Firestone telemetry coming from Sharp's car.
Oh, you heard him lift off the throttle right there, going into the short chute. And again, right there, I would say that Scott Sharp's got a car that's not working the way he needs it to be. Got a little bit of understeer. That means when you turn the steering wheel, the front of the car does not react as quickly as it should do.
Boy, you're looking at a car doing straight line, nearly 230 miles an hour. Robbie Buell's second time he's been in trouble today. This is over in turn 4. Looks like he just pulled it up and off, and the safety team came out to help him out, get him back behind the barrier.
And Paul, that will not be a yellow because there's an opening in the wall there, and there's some safety crew that pull him into the safety zone there, as they call it, so they don't have to go to a yellow situation.
You see that? That's the lead of the race. Everybody together.
It's nice, all coming in the frame at the same time. Whoa, what's happening here? Either a little smoke or getting off the... I think we saw a puff of smoke off the back. Either from the gearbox with Dixon. We'll have to wait to see what's going on.
Watching the 9 car, target Chip Ganassi, Scott Dixon. There's the Firestone lap leaders. Teammate to Dixon, Thomas Schechter, has led the most. Well, something absolutely wrong there.
A little bit of wiggling going on with the car. Maybe they're searching for fuel, Paul.
Down there, Scott. We want to make sure that we vent on this, so the guys are going to make sure you vent.
28 laps since he was last in the pits.
Should not be a fuel problem, but this is sort of uncharacteristic, so let us see. No changes on the car, no changes on the wings, front or rear. Paul, unless they got a problem, I have to say that maybe they were searching for fuel.
New Firestones all the way around.
Talking to all the drivers, they love the Firestone tires that the guys have brought here for them. Working perfectly for them in practice and in qualifying in the race.
Firestone has been shot on over 38,000 miles of testing right here at Indianapolis. There's the top 6.
Budweiser. MCI, no commitment. It's 3 cents a minute and 39 cents to connect. 10-10-987. And Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
We're back at the Indianapolis 500, presented by 7-Eleven. I'm Paul Page with Scott Goodyear and Bob Jenkins up top, and cast of thousands down in the pits, including Gary Gerald, Jack Root, Vince Welsh, and Jared Punch. Moving now to the closing laps of the Indianapolis 500-mile race, the 87th running. Elio Castroneves is the leader. It's the 163rd lap completed, and they are expecting everybody to be in between 165 and 168. Thomas Schechter has led the most laps thus far.
And Paul, Dario Franchitti is waiting down here watching his teammate Tony Kanaan, and he may have made the biggest understatement of this Indy 500. He turned to me and said, I do miss driving in this race, but I'll tell you, Jack, in about 6 laps, it's going to be a lot of fun down here.
Want to make sure you knew who was out of the race. Average speed at 161, well below Ari Lindyk's record of 185 for average speed set in 1990. Penske cars, 1, 2. Cars already making stops. That puff of smoke you see is from guys trying to jump on the brakes and get below the 60-mile-an-hour speed limit. There's the word.
10-4, pick this lap.
And Paul, you were talking about the brakes. What Elio will do right now is that his right foot's flat on the gas. He'll take his left foot, warm the brakes up. These are carbon fiber rotors on these cars. He'll warm the brakes up as he's coming into turn 3, so they will not lock the brakes up as he goes in the pit lane. These brakes need to be warmed to perfect themselves so they don't end up locking up into the pit box.
You heard the voice of Tim Cindric, president of Penske Racing. Tom Wirtz is the manager of all of them. There comes Castroneves. Look at him lock those brakes. Whoa.
Problem with that is, Paul, is you don't get slowed down enough, you'll be over the 60-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Entire length of the pits to run. Teammate comes with him. Kanaan picks up the lead.
And here he is. Castroneves comes in, hits the marks perfectly. Remember, at the start of the race, we said pit advantage goes to the man closest to pit exit. Gil de Ferran is right behind him. We'll see if Castroneves can beat his teammate out. De Ferran off the jack, and Castroneves is rolling. Still waiting for De Ferran. Now he moves.
So Eliel Castroneves comes out ahead of his teammate. Tony Kanaan gives up the lead to Thomas Scheckter, and he's on the pit road.
Tony Kanaan maintaining the 60-mile-an-hour speed limit. He has almost a third of a mile run down to his pit box. He hits the marks. The reason they have to hit the marks exactly is because the fuel hose will only reach so far. They're expecting to make no changes on this car other than taking on 35 gallons of fuel and new Firestone Firehawk tires. Why? Because they need to get out as quickly as they can. Oh, it takes fuel to go in. 11.5 seconds.
And so Thomas Scheckter picks up the lead of the race, and we got some history. Tor Takagi has just picked up the lead.
Oh, well, that's the first Japanese driver to lead the Indianapolis 500. That's something he'll remember for the rest of his life. A neat thing.
Thomas Scheckter into the pit.
And the Ganassi crew goes to work, fellas. The key is to fill it full of fuel at 4 gallons per minute.
Watch David.
Tim King completes his fuel job, and they're away.
Go to fuel position 1. Go to fuel position 1. Here comes Castroneves right now. That's the leader.
And here is Takagi for his stop. Fuel position refers to a selector on the dash that changes the engine mapping and therefore fuel economy.
And they can have it set up either way. One could be actually let their engine run rich, or let the engine actually, an overshoot. You see those guys will have to move the car back. As Jack mentioned, if you don't stop on your marks, which is right here, you see this little orange right there? That's exactly where you're supposed to be putting the right front wheel. And here's where the left wheel is supposed to be. And you can actually see what's happening. They are really about 4 feet away. It really takes a long time to get the car fueled at that rate.
Well, and Scott, that's a heartbreaker for this team because they have been picture perfect up until this point, and Takagi's car had been perfect as well. They made no changes on the race car, but Takagi, as you said, overshooting the pit gives you an extra second disadvantage on the track.
It made it a 20-second stop. That's an 8-second overrun from a normal last race stop. Remember that 8-second interval at the end of the race. Here is De Ferran as he makes a move on his very own teammate. And with that move, becomes the leader of the race.
That was all down to traffic. If you lose your momentum coming off the turn, you have to take your foot off the throttle. And you end up getting somebody past you every time.
And guys, what are they telling Castroneves? Tim Cindric says, you've got 30 laps to get him back. Be patient.
91 car, Buddy Lazier, former winner, is the car they just moved around. We're also getting word that Robbie Gordon may be slowing down. Yep, slowed down on the backstretch on the pit road now in turn 3.
Now, it sounds like the engine might be idling. This might be a gearbox-related situation, but right now that looks like, as you say, Paul, going into 3, that might be tough for him to roll all the way back around to 4. We might just see a caution flag here.
Only one team owner in the history of this race has 2 1-2 finishes. That's Lou Moore, who did it in 47 and 48. Roger Penske is going for his second 1-2 finish today. Let's go to Vince Wells.
Robbie McGee, 5th in 99. Not as fortunate today. What happened?
Well, it's real unfortunate. We got such a great team in Pedigo Panther Racing, but early on the race, when Sarah crashed in turn 3, I know it wasn't his fault, but I believe it was the 14 car ran into my left front, and that problem just kind of degenerated all day until the steering rack finally just gave out. So it's a real shame, but you know, hopefully we'll get another chance to drive that Panther car.
Tough day for Robbie McGee, Jack Arute.
Well, Vincent, the yellow is out because the problem with Robbie Gordon that started on pit road when he stalled the car, and as Scott Goodyear told us, Paul Page, it's a gearbox that is now expired on that car.
So Robbie Gordon is out. The yellow is on again. De Ferran and Castroneves first and second. We'll be back.
I wanna take you on a roller coaster.
Some of the highlights and lowlights so far in the 87th running of the 500. The threat is everywhere. America unleashes its newest secret weapon against terrorism. Threat Matrix, a new drama coming Thursdays this fall on ABC. 25 laps to go in the Indianapolis 500. Marlboro Team Penske's 2 drivers lead. De Ferran, then Castroneves, Paul.
AT&T wireless race analysis. There it is, 14 different lead changes. Average in with all of the yellows. 5 for 37 laps, just over 162.6 miles an hour. Penske cars run 1-2. Tony Kanaan for Team Andretti Green as they all take the green flag. And De Ferran leads them down the front stretch.
Nice, smart restart by Gil de Ferran. Paul got a nice jump going on through 3 and 4. No drafting going to happen on him going into turn 1.
Tora Takagi tries to make a move. Down there on the inside. Not going to happen there.
Although that might cost him a position going down the backstretch here.
And Hornish right behind him, and they are on the later lap. You ride with Hornish. He is the highest placed Chevrolet now. Top 3 are Toyota, Honda.
The Penske cars look strong. Castroneves was able to get a draft going on to Gil.
Young Sam's always right there.
Probably one of the most talented guys on the racetrack today, Paul. Just needs a little more horsepower.
That's him ahead of Scott Sharp.
We're in about 10 car lengths behind, buddy.
So the leader, still De Ferran. His teammate right behind him. This is Roger Penske's 30th race at the Indianapolis 500. Amazing history. The stories we were talking about at the start on our inside line, Elio's still got a chance. Tora Takagi still looking good. And Chevy is, without question, in the battle now, though a long way from the lead.
Well, might not find themselves in victory circle, Paul, but they've had a great showing today. You know, when you look at Horner, she's up there in 7th right now, so the team's done a great job. Sam's done a great job, but we could see a battle coming down here in the last couple of laps, and a few of these guys might take themselves out. He might find himself further up the race standings.
Hey, 7th is only 3 seconds behind the leader.
Absolutely. A lot can go on here.
In fact, 13th, Unser Jr. is only 10 seconds behind the leader.
Once we had that yellow, we saw how it closed up the field. Tora Takagi got back up in the queue after having that mistimed pit stop and not hitting his marks.
Down the pit side, Gary Gerald.
Of course, Roger Penske has always maintained there are no team orders. So De Ferran, Penske in his ear on the radio, he's telling Gil simply, be smart. On the restart, he said, think about what you must accomplish. Helio Castroneves, they told him, be patient. Even though there's going to come a time pretty doggone soon, Paul, when patience is going to go out the window, and Castroneves will try to challenge his teammate to get that 3rd consecutive unprecedented Indy win. Vince?
Thomas Scheckter is currently running 4th for Target Chip Ganassi, and the philosophy at this point is very simple. Flat out, all the way around, and see if you can catch the Marlboro cars. It's not too difficult. Go to the front the best you can. Jack?
Well, for Tony Kanaan, who runs in 3rd behind those 2 Penske cars, very silent on the radio. In fact, Paul, this is a really difficult time for pit crews. It's out of their hands now. They've done all that they can do. If they are called back into action now, it's because something bad has happened. Now it's up to the driver.
Lap 181 in 7 of the last 11 years. The leader at lap 180 has failed to win the Indianapolis 500.
And Paul, these fans along the front straightaway near the south pits or pit exit, all in the lower grandstand, are standing. Everybody wondering how it's going to shake out in the final 20 laps, the final 50 miles of this 500.
Look at that. That's the lead before this enormous crowd at Indianapolis.
Paul, we always talk about the commitment coming here for the teams and the drivers, but when you look at right now, you've got Penske, Andretti Green, Chip Ganassi. Scott Sharp.
Scott Sharp catches the wall hard, too, but you can see him moving around. He's okay. That's off at turn 1 in the short chute down at the south end between turns 1 and 2. He was running 8 at this point. Oh, man. Vince, what's going on? You're down with the team.
Tom Kelly, what happened with Scott?
I have no idea. The car was handling pretty good, and I have no clue what happened. He didn't say anything about the accident. He just said he's okay. So we'll see when he gets out of the car.
No indicators throughout the course of the afternoon that the car was mishandling?
No, I mean, the car wasn't perfect, but it was okay. So something had to happen. We're just not sure what happened yet.
Tom Kelly.
Well, with that, he will lose what he had coming in, which was the IRL point lead. So caution again, 8th yellow of the day at Indianapolis.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, here's the situation. We have gone caution on the racetrack. Lap 183 complete. Scott Sharp impacts the wall. He is okay. Scott, how does this change the strategy in the last few laps here?
Well, Gil de Ferran right now was looking pretty good, and now what he has to think about is getting the perfect restart, Bob. He's got to get on the gas coming out of 3, make sure he does not have Helio Castroneves close enough behind him that he can get a draft going into turn 1, because he knows he probably will not have another shot at retaking the lead if he gets past.
That's the situation. Back in a moment at Indianapolis and the green flag.
This is the time to make your move. Green comes out at Indianapolis. De Ferran, Castroneves, Kanaan, Scheckter, Takagi. Takagi looking for a place. It's not there. De Ferran continues to lead, pulls out a bit. On second place, Castroneves.
Paul, we talked about the restart, to get the perfect restart, to make sure that Castroneves did not have an opportunity to draft by, and Gil de Ferran did a perfect job.
Whoa! Dan Weldon takes Sam Hornish all the way down toward the grass.
That won't be something that Brian Beinhardt...
Wow!
Yep.
And Weldon upside down.
Well, this changes the whole complex of the race, Paul. We're going to have another restart. Dan Weldon is a lucky guy. These cars are Kevlar carbon fiber, have a wonderful
Look at that.
bar. Look at him. He's
unbelievable.
He's going to unbolt himself from the 6-way harness. Got the safety Hans device on that goes around his neck and helmet. And I bet you he steps up, walks away, and gives a wave to the crowd.
Hang on, Dan. He has a beautiful helmet. King Richard the Lionhearted on it. I bet it's got some scrapes on it now.
Well, every time you have a crash like this, your helmet goes into what we call the showcase, because anytime it's banged, you never get a chance to reuse it. Did a great job as a rookie. The other English rookie man coming over a little while ago that we all know was Nigel Mansell. He did a great job.
Listen to that crowd.
See, there he goes. Amazing the safety of these cars and the safer wall that the IRL has committed to. They're the leader in technology and safety, Paul.
Man victorious over the machine again. So now the cleanup begins. And this is going to set the stage for an interesting end of the race. Not that it wasn't going to be.
Just entering into the turn a little bit low, got into the wall, got some air underneath the front of the car, just like Mario Andretti did back in April when he was testing here for his son's team, Michael. Get a little bit of a wiggle right mid-turn. Car goes up towards the wall. Lost control. He's just a passenger now, and it gets that little bit of air underneath there, and away it goes.
And a fortune for him and everybody else that the car stayed up toward the wall then. Well, that's frightening.
That's spectacular. Amazing to see him at that speed be able to hop out.
sliding along and looking at the pavement from way over. Oh, man.
Hear the reaction from the crowd at the same time. That was a hit at over 200 miles an hour, Paul. Probably about 210 or 15 miles an hour. Now here we watch from Sam. He's getting a run underneath. Now Dan commits to get low. Sam is going to probably go high now to get the right run for the turn. Dan Weldon's entered a little bit low. Gets the wiggle on the back of the car. Just not enough grip. And the car goes out from underneath him.
One further back with Dixon.
And now as a driver, you're off the gas. You just want to make sure you miss it.
So there's the car. Now, Mario Andretti actually climbed into a car for Tony Kanaan to test it just before the month of May started. This was in the child chute with Mario.
There again, that white piece of material he runs over right there is a piece from a car that Kenny Brackett crashed just a little bit earlier. It sends the car up going into the air. It actually acts like an airplane. He's hitting the top of the fence right there, which holds him inside the park, lands on the ground right side up, thankfully for Mario. He had just turned a lap of 225 miles an hour.
Tribute to the engineers, the designers, and the crews that these cars are so incredibly safe. The 87th running of the Indianapolis 500, presented by 7-Eleven, will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
Sports.
There are less than 10 laps to go in this year's Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven. We're under caution, but we're expected to go back to green in about a lap and a half from right now. The situation is that Gil de Ferran and Helio Castroneves, the Marlboro Team Penske drivers, are running first and second. Then Kanaan, Scheckter, and Takagi. The rest of the top 10, Hornish, Dixon, Renna, Barron, and Greg Ray. Dan Weldon has made impact with the wall and his car flipped over at the north end of the track, but as soon as they caught the car uprighted, he jumped out and was obviously uninjured. But it was a very spectacular crash up there at the north end of the racetrack. The leader with 10 laps to go, well, he has failed to win 4 of the last 8. At the north end of the track, but as soon as they caught the car uprighted, he jumped out and was obviously uninjured. But it was a very spectacular crash up there at the north end of the racetrack. The leader with 10 laps to go, well, he has failed to win 4 of the last 8 Indy 500 races. And you can bet that Helio Castroneves, who is right behind his teammate Gil de Ferran, wants desperately to win the three-peat. But Kanaan, Scheckter, and Takagi also want a piece of it. Saturday, ABC Sports returns to Indy as all-star forward Shamika Holsclaw leads the Washington Mystics in a crash on the straightaway. That is the number 9 car driven by Scott Dixon. Just got sideways here in the main straightaway. You can see our in-car cameras pointed right toward the pagoda. So that will delay the green flag coming out. We were supposed to go back to green next time, but that will not be the case as Dixon's car is stopped right in the middle of the racetrack.
Warming up the tires, Bob, and actually went down a gear, getting ready to accelerate to warm the rear tires up, and just clipped the wall with that left rear. And as he spun past us in the broadcast booth, that left rear was actually hanging out. There he goes right there, broke the left rear. And then he just ends up losing the contact with the patch on the road, and now all of a sudden he's a passenger.
Well, it had been a good race for Scott Dixon, who was the fastest rookie qualifier in this year's Indy 500 field, starting in the 4th position inside of row number 2. Saturday, ABC Sports returns to Indy as all-star forward Shamika Holsclaw leads the Washington Mystics against Tamika Catchings and the Indiana Fever. The WNBA on ABC Saturday, live at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Take a look at our Firestone lap leaders here before we go back to green. Thomas Scheckter, who's currently running 4th, has led the most laps. Castroneves' 2nd highest amount. He is running in 2nd position. And Michael Andretti in his final Indianapolis 500 will total another 28 as having led at Indianapolis. All right, now less than 8 laps to go, Paul.
Well, and setting for what was going to be an awesome finish regardless. Now with 10 cars on the leader lap, they struggle to get Scott Dixon's car off the front stretch, and then they'll drop the green flag as fast as they can, and it's anybody's guess. top 10 cars, Al Unser Jr., the last one in the line, all on the leader lap. I think you can say, Scott, any one of the top 10 can be a winner here in a very few minutes.
Well, Paul, as we saw the graphic before, whoever's leading usually at lap 190 is actually sometimes not the winner. I've lived that myself. And right now, even the guys that are sitting in 4th or 5th or even 6th know that anything can happen on a restart. And, you know, nobody's out of this race right now.
Let's go down to Vince Welch.
Chip Ganassi, Scott Dixon's spin kind of hurt your other teammate, Thomas Scheckter.
It certainly does. I mean, I think we still have a shot at this thing. I mean, we didn't need that to happen to Scott for Thomas's sake, but, you know, anything can happen here at the end.
What's your strategy here with Thomas in these last few laps?
Well, I told him, I said, this is for all the marbles, so that's about what it is.
Let's see if Thomas Scheckter can get it done in these final laps, Gary Gerald.
Roger Penske has told Gil de Ferran, let's see what you've got. Tim Cindric is on the radio with Helio Castroneves. Tim, what are you telling your driver?
Just be smart out there. Be smart out there. Hang on a second. They're going green next time. Helio going green next time. Just be smart out there and bring it home. You know, we got to make sure one of these two guys brings it home. He's going to give everything he can in this game.
All right, Jack.
Well, we're with Jim Green with Tony Kanaan. Does Tony have what it takes to get by those two red and white cars?
Well, man, I obviously hope so, but they're very, very strong. We've been trying pretty hard these last few laps to see if we couldn't get by them, and it's going to be a bit of a shootout. It's probably going to all be about the restart.
What about on the restart? What type of restart gearing do you have?
Well, we obviously have a pretty good stack up of gears for restart, and obviously Penske do as well. So,
hey, Paul, hold on.
Oh, yeah. Chip Ganassi point is well taken. The fewer laps that you have to run at green gives a greater advantage to those at the front of the field. Scheckter was going to have to work his way through some other cars, but let's not forget he did that most ably at last year's Michigan 400.
Certainly has the power and the ability and the team behind it, but it all comes down to restart like we heard them say. There's a restart area, turns 3 and 4, what they're entering into right now, and Gil gets on it again, and it looks in good form and fashion.
Green flag is out. De Ferran leads them to the line. Top 4 cluster together.
What Helio needed, Paul, was to be right up the backside of Gil de Ferran on the restart so he can get a bit of a toe going down that main straightaway and make that move going into turn 1. But Gil timed it perfectly. The last restart and this restart right now, all he's going to focus on is keeping his foot on the pedal, not lifting off, peeking in the mirrors every once in a while, and just hoping for the best.
Top 3 are together. Scheckter fades a little. So does Kanaan. Takagi closes a little on Scheckter. Hornish is right behind Takagi.
Now with Castroneves catching up to the backside of Gil de Ferran will be one thing. Being able to make the pass will be the second. Remember, he's running in turbulent air going through the turn. His car probably can't get through the turn as quickly as Gil's does. He might have an advantage going down the straightaway with a slipstream, which you see him working in right now. But it's going to be a tough one for him to be able to get past.
Backstretch, yellow flag. Look.
Yellow flag, and it's Sam Hornish. Looked like a motor. No yellow. They called for it. We heard the spotter suggest it, but it was not the yellow. They are still green.
Sam did a smart job, got off the racing service. You saw him on the apron on the pit lane entering. So they will keep this race green, not try to affect it by the yellow flag.
Last 10 laps, they try to keep totally sterile, regardless of what happened. Through Hornish's smoke going into 3.
Unfortunate for Sam Hornish, he was finding himself possibly the top 5 finish, was the highest Chevrolet runner at that time, but right now we don't have a Chevrolet in the top 10.
Castroneves trying to reel De Ferran in. Going back to last year's Indy 500, it's been a tough year for De Ferran. 2 fairly serious injuries.
Your palms are sweaty right now, your heart is racing, your throat is dry. All you want to do is click off these laps. You're counting the corners right now. Through 3, through 4.
Tony Kanaan continues to fade. The battle is between de Ferran and Castroneves.
The difference between first and second, besides the Borg Warner Trophy, probably be about $600,000 for these two drivers. But as a driver, you just want the trophy right now. Gilles never had it. Castroneves, it would be his third time.
Castroneves inched in. Here by 3. But the interval remains about the same, 3/10. Clear by 3.
Paul Castroneves has been here twice. He's won twice. He doesn't know what it's like to lose.
2.5 miles to go for Gil de Ferran.
I guarantee you his heartbeat is going so hard right now that his chest is probably hurting. Remember last year he lost a tire after a pit stop? Looked like he had the opportunity to win that race.
If Castroneves is going to have a chance, it would be now. He tries to get a little clean air. Doesn't work for him. Through turn 3. Castroneves still trying to close. De Ferran looks at the front stretch. He can see the checkered flag now. And Gil de Ferran becomes the 62nd driver to win in Indianapolis 500. Gil de Ferran. Let's go to Jackaroo.
Roger Penske, you stand here with this victorious team for a 13th time, a first time for Gil de Ferran. What are your emotions right now?
Well, I'll tell you, watching those guys together, we just had great stops. We had great fuel economy today with the engines, which made a huge difference for us, keeping us on where we need to be. But I'll tell you, for Gil, he tried so hard, and we let him down last year. But hey, guys, this is about our team and about our people. It's not about me. It's just a fantastic day for us, and I can't tell you how good I feel.
When you're on the radio to Gil, how worried were you about his teammate and your driver, Castroneves, maybe overtaking him for a record-breaking third straight?
Well, I didn't like to see all those restarts because that's where you get a chance to get a bump. But everything went in our direction today. But just again, what a wonderful day.
A 1-2 finish for Team Penske. Congratulations again, Roger.
Thank you.
The crowd seems to enjoy this victory. Brazilians top 3 positions. Then Thomas Scheckter, a South African, and then Tora Takagi. Alex Barron comes home 6th. And he's from Southern California. Look at that. That's a view like no other. And Gil de Ferran is enjoying it as winner of the Indianapolis 500. Got some junk and debris in the side pods of the car, but there's the expression. They are all beautiful in Victory Lane.
You can see how dirty the car is in the front and the helmet. Most drivers, Paul, after this race, especially after a victory, will retire their helmet, but the helmet almost looks like the front of an airplane, like the car does after 500 miles, and the car needs to be repainted, and the helmet usually goes on a trophy shelf.
I was hoping to get it for my collection.
I think I know where that one's going with Gil.
Not a chance in the world. De Ferran, Castroneves, Kanaan, top 3. The final left turn for Gil.
A driver's dream, Paul, is to make 5 left turns on the last lap, 4 on the racetrack, and the last one here going to Victory Circle.
Turning radius on the car is such they got to stand under the rear of the car to spin it around and point it toward the winner's circle. Gordon Pipers are there to greet the winner, one of the great Indy traditions. That's all that's left. About 30 yards to begin his celebration. Oh, he's celebrating there already, but officially, so they get the car pointed in the right direction.
Paul, it's an amazing story when you think about it. You talked about what he's gone through before, but remember he had a crash just at Phoenix, missed the Japanese race, and then he was out of it. Didn't even know if he'd actually be able to come here. Missed the testing program.
It's hard to find a more likable guy in the series. Gil de Ferran is the champion, Jack.
And now it's 10 feet, 9 feet, 8 feet to victory lane. Gil de Ferran has waited for this moment. Did not get to run in Japan.
the race before this, but he is here now, and that's all that matters. The crew comes to celebrate with this Brazilian, who, by the way, has always approached racing, he says, much the way an artist would approach a painting. They have to get all of the safety paraphernalia off, and I would imagine that right now this is a time to collect one's thoughts before the adrenaline takes over and the emotions with the realization that he has won the greatest spectacle in racing. The Borg Warner Trophy has been placed on the back of the Marlboro Team Penske wing. Gil de Ferran can now hear the crowd as he takes the Hans device off. He has the balaclava off. Gil, congratulations. And you can see just how tired. Remember, he has a back that has been ailing. Shades of 1996 with Buddy Lazier. A mixture of pain and joy as Gil de Ferran comes up out of the cockpit. Gil getting the congratulations of his crew, and a mixture of pain with the back getting out of the car, but it absolutely is spectacular to see you here.
I tell you, Jack, it's hard to describe in words what I'm feeling right now. It's such an unbelievable moment for me. You know, you always dream of winning a race like this and say something smart, but I'm afraid words escaping right now. It's just unbelievable. And
the tears of joy. Who says this race isn't the greatest spectacle and the most meaningful race? For Gil de Ferran, getting a kiss from his lovely wife. His children now, they may be too young to realize what this means, but they are here to share the moment. Gil, now, there's the milk.
I love milk.
Wonderful.
Guys.
A tradition started many years ago in Victory Lane by Wilbur Shaw continues, and milk has never tasted sweeter for Gil de Ferran, who has won the 87th Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven. Here's the rundown. Vitor Meira, a rookie, finishes in 12th position, 1 lap down. Dan Weldon flips at the north end of the racetrack but escapes injury. And now the rest of the rundown of this year's starting field at Indianapolis. Back in a moment.
Back in Indianapolis, Tony Kanaan driving for Greta Green Racing finishes 3rd. And Tony, did you have anything for those other Brazilians in those final 10 laps?
We had the car, but unfortunately, nobody would look like nobody could pass anybody. We had fast cars, and Gil was fast, Ali was fast, but no, I don't think I could pass them. I feel sorry because I want to really give this win to the whole 7-Eleven team. Actually, I wanted this guy to win so bad. When I saw him in the lead, I said, I mean, man, today is going to be his day. And as soon as I saw him dropping off, I said, hey, I'm going to be the only chance in the team, so I'm going to go for it. I'm thinking of the big picture. We're leading the championship, so we'll see what's going to happen.
Okay, Tony Kanaan finishes 3rd. A tough day for Andretti Green Racing. When we come back, we'll talk to Elio Castroneves, who finished runner-up here at Indy.
Well, while Gil de Ferran is down there in Victory Lane, his teammate who knows all about that is experiencing something new at Indianapolis. You've never been any place other than Victory Lane. How difficult is that to accept?
Well, I mean, especially being so close to be in a great situation to do history, you know. Car was running fantastic. Hey, as long as the team finished well, that's where we need to be happy. A little disappointed, but hey, Gil, you deserve it. You did well, and now let's go and fight the championship. That's what we need.
You know, he's already ready. He's already thinking about what's going to happen here next year. We'll be back at Indianapolis in a moment.
Expect more, pay less.
For the 2nd year in a row, Thomas Scheckter leads the most laps at the Indianapolis 500. Today you finish 4th. I know it's not where you want to be. What was the difference between 4th and 1st?
Well, I think it's the difference between drinking milk and not. But you know, it was so tough. All the cars were pretty close, and once I think before the second stop, or just after, no, I mean after the last stop, I got into like third or fourth, and it wasn't dirty air. But I have to thank Team Target and Toyota.
Let's go back upstairs.
And let's take a look at the AT&T wireless race analysis. And by the way, that tradition of drinking milk was started by Louis Meyer way back a long time ago, who actually asked for buttermilk in victory lane. 8 cautions today for a total of 51 laps. Here are the points now after 4 of 16 races in the IRL IndyCar Series. Coming up next on ABC Sports, the first ever X Games Global Championship. Join us Saturday, June 7th at Texas Motor Speedway for the Bombardier 500 live at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com, keyword ABC Sports.
Green flag is out. The 87th running of the Indy 500.
Continuing the tradition of excellence, this is ABC Sports Championship Television.
Thirsty for some Indy milk? The Indianapolis